Hey kids, it's time to get some SML podcast all up in that.
What's up, everyone? This is the SML podcast. I am your host, Joe. We have a really fun show lined up for you. It is WrestleMania weekend, and that means it is time for another WrassleCast. Cole will be here later on in the show, but for now, Tim Ekkebus, you're here. How are you doing?
I'm here. I am great. I'm already exhausted just thinking about how much wrestling I'm going to watch this weekend, and that's just, on my computer. I feel like some year I have to go. I went to WrestleMania X8, which was in Toronto, which is notable for having the Rock versus Hogan match, which was phenomenal to be there live for. But that was really before WrestleMania was such a thing. Whereas now it's like, you have the Hall of Fame that they do, which is kind of certainly taking a back seat this year. And you have NXT TakeOver. And just like I was looking at the schedule online of like independent shows being held in New York starting like on Thursday. And it is just like noon till past midnight every single day. Solid, just like wrestling nonstop going on. So I feel like some year I need to go and just consume all the wrestling, And
I would love to do a WrestleMania. The best I've ever done is I was at a Royal Rumble in nosebleed seats.
I was going, so SummerSlam weekend is actually in Toronto, but SummerSlam tickets are already sold out, apparently. The individual ticket, Well, when I looked, they just had like the super fan packages, like the 4 or 5 day packages for sale. And I was like, I'm not about that. I want to do a event. And I actually don't even really want it to be SummerSlam. I want it to be TakeOver. That's what I want to go to.
Yeah.
And I have conflicting information between it's already sold out and tickets haven't gone on sale yet. So I'm hoping it's the latter, because last time they did NXT in Toronto, it featured the Revival versus DIY in the 2 out of 3 falls match. Which would have been a hell of a thing to be there live for. So I'm hoping I can catch tickets. I'm hoping I can go see a TakeOver. I think that would be phenomenal. But we'll see. If it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. Oh well. But anyways, this is WrestleMania weekend.
It is WrestleMania weekend, and there are so many matches to talk about.
We have 20 matches to talk about, along with speculation regarding a couple of other things that may happen and have not been announced yet formally.
Yeah.
So
20 confirmed matches.
20 confirmed matches on the card between NXT TakeOver New York, which is a slim and trim 5 matches, and WrestleMania 35 itself, which is a bloated 15. And further bloated because of how many large multi-man matches there are on the card. Multiple fatal 4-ways. Hoo boy.
A lot of people wrestling.
Yeah. So yeah, we should get into this.
All right, well, you're the one who reorganized everything based on Wikipedia, so I'm letting you take the lead for this.
Yeah, I am taking the wheel. So, all right, first we're talking about NXT TakeOver New York, which is happening Friday night. So if you're not listening to us right now, you're probably going to hear this after it's already happened. So
spoilers, we already missed it.
We're already wrong. But hey, bask in our, not our glory, but our wrongness. So first up, we have the Tag Team Championship match for the NXT Tag Team Championships, which is the War Raiders, Hanson and Rowe, who just won them back at the last NXT TakeOver, versus the first of 2 championship challenges this weekend from Aleister Black and Ricochet. The sudden super team that won the Dusty Rhodes Classic, that has been beating the Revival on Raw pretty regularly, except when it matters, and and they are also going to be competing the next night for the SmackDown Tag Team Championships, even though they're not really a great tag team. Like they're 2 great singles guys, but I don't know. From their matches, I'm just kind of like, yeah, they're just 2 great. They're cool. It's weird. This was supposed to be, well, not this, but the main roster tag team spot was supposed to be for DIY, though I don't know how that would have worked with how that blew up. Things are a mess. Oh, there was some mess leading up to WrestleMania and NXT, and we'll get into plenty of that. But anyways, this match, we think's going to win.
I'm going with the War Raiders. I would like to see Aleister Black and Ricochet win it so that they could stay in NXT a little longer. But unless they win both sets of championships, I don't think they're winning NXTs.
Yeah, I also picked the War Raiders. I mean, it seems all but confirmed that Ricochet and Black are already up on the main roster, and this is just kind of them finishing out their term on NXT. So yeah, I just see the War Raiders winning and Black and Ricochet just formally joining a spot on the main roster in the next few weeks.
So yeah, I think this is definitely their NXT swan song. But if it's not, fuck, they're going to pull double duty, and if anyone can do it, it's them.
Yeah. But yeah, it should be a good match because probably everything on this card will be a good match.
Because it's NXT.
Because it's NXT. And also not the first time, but we have the NXT UK Championship being defended on the show. Ooh, Pete Dunne is back to defend his title against Walter.
This is going to be a brutal one. There's going to be a lot of pain in this match.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see the chops that go down between these guys.
Yeah, I haven't actually seen a Walter match in its entirety yet. I've just seen him in GIF form on Twitter, which is how I saw him for a couple years before he finally ended up signing with NXT UK. And man, that dude can hit the shit out of you. My goodness. Good Lord. But this match should be awesome. And I think I'm glad that they're doing it here at the regular NXT TakeOver. I wouldn't have complained about seeing an NXT Women's Championship match, but whatever. And I gotta say, I think this is the end of the line for Pete Dunne.
Do you?
Yeah, he's been champion for well over a year now, a year and a half. Yeah, like he won it from Tyler Bate like almost 2 years ago, and really has been a champion without a challenger for a lot of that time. I mean, they had him defend it here and there on NXT TV. Obviously, he's been defending it on the NXT UK show. But for a long time before that show started, he was just kind of like in the ether, just like, yeah, sure, of course he's going to win. But I think Walter is his first very stiff challenge in a long while, and I think it's time to pass the belt on to somebody else.
Yeah, I agree with you on this one. I think Pete Dunne has held the title long enough. I wouldn't be shocked if they kept it on him just to keep his record streak going, but I'm going with Walter.
Yeah, I think it freshens things up. It changes up the scene there. I mean, I suppose you have to kind of keep Pete Dunne over there. The show just really started, but he seems destined to be on quote-unquote main roster before too long, even though that's already kind of packed with random NXT people wandering around not doing anything.
Like EC3.
Yeah.
Poor bastard.
Yeah. There's this, whatever. Next match, which should be great. We have the Velveteen Dream defending his North American Championship against Matt Riddle. Bro,
I think it is a bit too early to take the belt off Dream. I don't know who's going to win it, but I see Dream keeping the belt. So there might be some kind of shenanigan ending. Yeah. I don't think Matt Riddle's going to lose, like a clean loss. But it's too soon to take the belt off Dream. So this one I'm kind of torn on. Yeah,
you see like maybe some kind of a shady finish.
Something funky.
Yeah. I think Dream just wins. Normally I would think like, oh, it's call-up time for Dream, but he just won the belt a couple months ago after he won that Worlds Collide tournament. There's plenty of NXT people that are on the main roster right now floating around with nothing to do.
Oh, yeah.
And Velveteen Dream is still like 23 years old. So he has plenty of time to continue to grow in NXT before he moves up to and has his talent wasted on the main roster. Sorry, not to be a jaded wrestling guy. I think he'll do great because he's just such a weirdo. But yeah, I think Dream retains. And I just underlined him to win. I don't think it'll kill Matt Riddle for Velveteen to win, clean or otherwise. But yeah.
We're in agreement so far on everything.
Well, now here things can really get screwed up because we have a fatal 4-way match for the NXT Women's Championship with Shayna Baszler defending against Io Shirai, Bianca Belair, and Kairi Sane all at once. Holy crap.
This is going to be a crazy one.
This should be a crazy match. And I'm pretty certain, regardless of me stating about NXT call-ups twice now, I think it's time for Shayna to go up, especially if Rousey is going to be leaving after WrestleMania. And even if she's sticking around, I think whatever show Ronda Rousey isn't on could use Shayna Baszler. I think it's time for her to move up, so I think it's time for her to drop the belt here. The big question is, who does she drop it to?
So who do you think she drops it to?
Well, who do you think? Do you think she retains?
I kind of think she's going to retain.
Okay.
I don't see them changing all of the titles, and we're still kind of up in the air with Matt Riddle and Velveteen Dream. We both agree that Walter's going to be winning. Yeah. We're going to have a new NXT championship because Vacant's going to be losing the belt.
We'll see.
I think
maybe Abeyance will sweep in. Remember Abeyance, the greatest champion of all time?
I don't know. Vacant's still better than Abeyance.
Yeah. Abeyance.
I think Baszler's going to hold on to it at least for one more takeover. Okay. And if she loses it, I don't think she's getting pinned. I'll put it that way. I don't think she's going to lose.
Is that this is the spot where you can get the belt off of her without her having, or she gets hit by like 3 people's finishers, in a row, and somebody takes advantage of it. So this might be kind of a crazy pick. I think Bianca Belair is going to win, even though obviously she just lost the last takeover in the 1-on-1. But I feel like Shayna's going to the main roster. I hope that's my thought, my prediction, and I feel like the Sky Pirates are destined to be wrestling for the hell yeah. They are destined to be wrestling for the women's tag championships here in the near future.
I'm surprised they're not already. They made such a big deal about Sasha and Bayley defending on all brands, and I'm surprised that the Sky Pirates aren't involved in the Fatal 4-Way on WrestleMania.
Well, it's been observed that there is a takeover coming up that is not attached to a pay-per-view weekend, because Money in the Bank is happening like next month. I'm not shitting you. It's next month.
Damn.
And so the takeover is going to be in June because they didn't want to do another takeover so soon. Because why would you want to do a pay-per-view every month?
Yeah, it's bananas.
Seems ridiculous. So yeah, there's going to be a takeover that's not attached to a big weekend. So you think the thought is that card is going to end up being a little stacked, and like, how do you help fill an arena when it's not already a big wrestling weekend? Than to have Boss and Hug defending their tag championships there and doing a turn at NXT. So I think this is, and because of that, I honestly don't know how much longer Io and Kairi are for NXT. Just because I think they could win the belts and then move up to the main roster. Getting really ahead of myself there, and I think you put it on Bianca Belair to start moving things forward in that division.
Our first disagreement.
I had a feeling because I think Bianca's a weird pick, but
yeah, that's what I'm that.
Yeah. And finally, the main event of the evening, which I have actually not underlined. I have not picked a winner yet. I'm kind of torn on this one, which is
really,
yeah. So it's Johnny Gargano versus Adam Cole in a 2 out of 3 falls match, which is the Hell in a Cell of NXT. Really, like that is their kind of signature match. And yeah, it's unfortunate this was going to be Johnny versus Tommaso Ciampa, finishing off their years-long rivalry. But Ciampa had to get some surgery, had to vacate the belt. Adam Cole won his way into the match, and now we have this. This is our match. And yeah, I'm kind of torn because if it was Johnny versus Tommy, I would have guessed. I would have said, "Oh, Johnny's winning. Like this is his moment." But now I'm like, I'm not so sure because, like, does it mean the same thing if Johnny wins the title, but it's not over Tommaso Ciampa? Like, they've been so intrinsically linked for 3 years now, and like this is the moment they were building to. Like, will it have the same meaning if he just wins over Adam Cole? Like, Adam Cole seems like he'd be a great NXT champion, but it's kind of hard for me to see him winning a 2 out of 3 falls match.
Why is that?
I don't know. I just feel like that's more like Johnny's match to win for whatever reason. Maybe there will be some Undisputed Era shenanigans that help him win. I mean, one would have to think.
I'd be shocked if they didn't show up.
Yeah. I really want to say Adam Cole wins, but it's tough to bet against Johnny, you know?
I'm going with Adam Cole. I think, I think between the whole is Johnny Gargano getting called up or not situation and the fact that it's not against Ciampa, I think that they're going to hold off on pulling the trigger on Gargano for even longer. And I don't think they're going to give him his big championship win until Ciampa's back. And by then it'll be on the main roster and it'll be for some other main roster title.
Yeah.
But I think, especially because, you know, he was supposedly getting called up with Ciampa, we don't know what's going on there.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a lot of unknowns here just because of how the situation played out. And the thing is, though, even if he was getting called up, one of them was still going to have to win the match and hold the title for a little bit. So maybe Adam Cole was the next step after that, and now it's just going to go to him straight up.
Maybe.
So, leaning Adam Cole, but this one could really go either way, I think. Do you do the big feel-good ending for Johnny here? Maybe. Probably. I don't know.
Who knows?
Somebody knows. Hunter knows. Triple H knows.
If you're listening to this show, the MP3 version, you know what happened. We don't.
We don't yet. I'm excited to know. Moving on to WrestleMania 35. The show of shows, the showcase of the immortals, the grandest stage of them all.
Before we get there, do you think we'll see any other surprise matches on NXT?
No.
No, nothing else?
No. Why? What do you think there's going to be?
No, I was wondering if you think there might be anything else, like the one TakeOver had Riddle and Ono kind of out of nowhere.
No, I don't think so, unless they do a blow off with what's his name, Dijakovic and what's that guy's name? I can't remember his name. Oh my god, this is killing me.
I can't remember either.
Oh my god. I'm just thinking here, bask in his glory. Who is the guy whose glory I'm basking in? I don't remember. Keith Lee. Jesus Christ. There we
Isn't
go.
he injured though?
Is he injured?
I thought I heard he was injured.
Keith Lee injured. Oh, Keith Lee out of action due to injury. All right. Yep, you're right. Okay, yep. No, I don't know.
So, no other matches. It's going to be an awesome takeover, though.
Every takeover is awesome, so I'd be shocked if it wasn't.
All right, WrestleMania. Let's move on because, oh my God, there's so many matches to talk about.
There's so many matches, and there's more to say about some than others, but there's a lot to plow through here. Well, here, let's touch on a couple of things that are not announced for the card, maybe real quick. I guess Zack Ryder and Kurt Hawkins made a challenge for the Raw Tag Team titles.
Really?
That might show up, presumably, on the pre-show. Which sadly I think would end with Kurt Hawkins getting his win in WrestleMania moment and them just taking over the Revival even more.
Oh, yeah. If that match happens, it's definitely going to be Hawkins and Ryder.
It makes me sad.
I'm writing that one down as an official match that's happening because it just makes sense.
Yeah. But yeah, John Cena, ? Undertaker, ?
From what I hear, there's definitely a Cena match planned. I don't think we're going to see Taker, though.
Yeah, all right. Well, but anyway, let's talk about what we do know. So, we have, of course, the first match that will be on the show, the Cruiserweight Championship match, which is Buddy Murphy defending against Tony Nese. The story behind this being that Tony Nese brought Buddy Murphy into 205 Live, and Buddy's had all the success and kind of became a dick. And Tony Nese won the tournament, the tournament to challenge at WrestleMania, and here we are. Here's the match. As someone who doesn't watch 205 regularly, I still remember Tony Nese as the jobberiest jobber man back when 205 Live was still integrated with Raw.
With his abs.
He's certainly come a long way since then, but I don't feel like he's the guy to beat Buddy Murphy.
Not at all. I don't see this title changing hands.
Yeah. It's a bummer. I kind of wish they would have done Ray versus Buddy Murphy.
That would have been good. I would love to see Ray go to 205 Live.
Yeah, I mean, he'd murder everyone, but it would be cool for him to do a tour there, wrestle those guys. It'd be great for everybody. I think Buddy Murphy, I think that's a pretty strong pick there. All right. Anyways, both the men's and women's battle royals are going to be appearing on the pre-show. We have the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. What do you think?
Oh man, there's so many options they could go with here. Do we see a surprise Gronk entry?
No, I don't think so.
Are we going to see them somehow find a way to give the win to Michael Che or Colin Jost?
I don't think so.
Is Braun going to win, which seems like the obvious pick, so I kind of don't want to go with him.
I don't, I wrote him down at first, but I feel like the way things are going to go, I mean, sometimes you have the big guy win the Battle Royal, because sometimes that's just how it goes down. He seems like the most obvious option, but I feel like they're going to, for whatever reason, embarrass him by having Che and Jost somehow get him eliminated.
Mm-hmm.
Or he gets eliminated going after those guys. So now I'm looking over the list. See, Matt Hardy won last year. Big Show won one. Mojo Rawley won one. Cesaro won the best
Mojo.
one.
Fucking Mojo Rawley.
Yeah, and Baron Corbin won one. I'm thinking, looking at the list of who's announced, and because it's on the pre-show, they're not going to have John Cena show up here.
That'd be amazing if he did.
If it was on the regular show, I would totally pick John Cena to win. But I'm thinking, not Mustafa Ali, just Ali.
Just Ali.
Ali or Andrade. Men recently losing their full names.
I'm going to go the complete opposite direction, and I'm going to pick someone that I can almost confirm will not win, but just because WWE are weird, they would probably pull something like this and give the win to EC3.
All right. Okay. If they
I'll say I wouldn't be shocked if he won. I wouldn't be surprised.
Sure. I guess he might be in the doghouse a bit because he took a picture with somebody wearing an AEW shirt.
Oh, no.
And that is like the worst thing you can acknowledge at this point. The existence of that particular wrestling promotion. So moving on to the women's battle royal, which now features Asuka.
Oh man, poor Asuka.
Dude, I don't know whether to bitch about that here or there, but I am so pissed that they did Asuka dirty like that and just had her drop the title a week before WrestleMania because they couldn't figure out what to do with any of the SmackDown. And it sucks for the entire SmackDown women's roster, really, that just they couldn't figure out anything good enough to do with them. So we'll just give the belt to Charlotte and put it in the main event, and we'll literally all of you can be in the battle royal except for the Iconics. That is so sad and frustrating.
Such a shitty thing to do to Asuka. I think she's going to win the Rumble or the Battle Royal. I think they need to do something to make up for how dirty they treated her. They need to give her something.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of wonder if she's just going to get the title back after WrestleMania. One person's going to, winner takes all. One person's going to have both belts, but that they're not going to hold the belts forever. So eventually that belt, one of those belts is going to float back to SmackDown or back to Raw or whatever.
Unless they unify them.
I don't think they're going to unify them.
No.
I think it's just for the sake of the main event, for the sake of getting, the pictures of somebody holding both belts. I mean, originally the thought when Charlotte won was they want to picture the four horsewomen all holding their belts at the end of WrestleMania. But now with the winner take all stipulation, I guess someone's going to be left out. And talking about the situation, I'm kind of maybe they just have Asuka win is kind of throwing her a bone after doing her dirty last week. My initial thought was they're going to have Lacey Evans win finally, have her in the battle royal and win it. And that's going to be her making her mark finally and not just wandering out, and then wandering back up the ramp, which she's been doing for 3 months.
Yeah.
I would call that your top two picks, Asuka and Lacey Evans. I don't know, maybe this is the moment when they have Mandy Rose turn on Sonya Deville and one of them wins. I don't know.
I couldn't care less about those two, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of open. I don't know. I hope Asuka wins because I love Asuka.
I hope so too. They need to do something for how they fucked her over.
Yeah. But then maybe the plan is all ready for her to get the belt back in the near future.
That'd be nice.
It would be nice. It would be proper. Treat her right. God damn it. Ugh. So moving on to the main show, possibly.
Allegedly.
Supposedly, if nothing else gets bumped to the prelim show, we have the recently announced Fatal 4-Way for the SmackDown Tag Team titles, which is the Usos defending against... And they really missed an opportunity here. Alexa Bliss just kind of wandered... Alexa Bliss from Raw, but host of WrestleMania, wandered out and just said, oh yeah, you're having this Fatal 4-Way match. Wouldn't it have made sense for them to be like, oh, since you forfeited against the New Day last week, now you have to defend in a Fatal 4-Way. Wouldn't that have made sense?
Yeah.
Whatever.
But that would make sense, and that's something WWE doesn't like.
Yeah. We'll get back to that later. So yeah, the Usos defending against Aleister Black and Ricochet again. The Bar and and how the mighty have fallen, Shinsuke Nakamura and Rusev. Which reminds me of one of my favorite pre-WrestleMania games, which is remembering what happened at last year's WrestleMania. And then that's when you remember that, this is when Nakamura and Asuka were both challenging for titles and failed in their challenges. And now one is on the pre-show in a Battle Royal, and the other is in a tag team that he was illogically slapped into, a couple months ago.
In just a year.
Yeah. Hey, at least he got to be the U.S. champ for a while.
Yeah.
And Asuka got to hold that belt for a while. Okay, it wasn't a waste. I think the Usos retain here.
Yeah,
that's my
I agree.
thought. Yeah. I just saw today that they signed new contracts, so they're not going anywhere. So I see them hanging on to it.
The only way I see them losing is if Ricochet and Aleister Black win the NXT championships.
Yeah, with double
and then
champ.
I could see them doing that.
Yeah, it's just like with the match slapped together last minute, unless you just want to do like a random surprise title change, which they are wont to do. I just don't. I'm just like, nah.
Yeah.
It would just be random. There wouldn't be like really any story payoff to it. So I think just Usos retain because they're the Usos.
Uso.
Yes. Another tag team fatal 4-way contest. We have Bayley and Sasha Banks, the Boss and Hug connection, defending against what is the Divas of Doom, which is Natalya and Beth Phoenix. And whoever called them that clearly has not seen Natalya wrestle or attempt to. We have Natalya and Beth Phoenix versus the Iconics versus Nia Jax and Tamina.
Where do you see them going here?
I think that Boss and Hug retains. I think I see another retention here. But if anybody wins it, I think it's going to be the Iconics.
Really?
Maybe that's just wishful thinking. Well, they're an actual. Well, I don't know. They've been a team since NXT. They are a duo. They are hilarious. But I think that Sasha and Bayley just retain and hold on to it for a bit longer.
I don't know. I'm going to go with the Divas of Doom. I think they're going to give Beth Phoenix one more final championship and one more last hurrah. And then they'll, you're saying at the next takeover that you think that they'll have tag championships there defending against the Sky Pirates. I think that'd be a good time to have Beth Phoenix and Natalya drop the belts, have them be transitional champs and move it over to NXT.
I just don't see Beth Phoenix hanging around that long. Buffalo's own Beth Phoenix.
Oh, is she from Buffalo?
Yep.
Huh.
Yeah.
I'll be damned.
Now you know. So's Lex Luger.
Really?
Yeah. I think it's cool to give them that spot and just have them in the match, but I don't have her in the match, but I just think I don't see them winning. Maybe
Yeah, I'm just having fun with my picks.
Hey, at least we agree that Nia and Tamina aren't winning. Just please,
which means,
you know what? Just get them the fuck away from Raw and get them away from those two.
Yeah, which means, of course, Nia Jax and Tamina are going to win.
Oh, please no. Oh man, if they want to get a big solid heel moment on the show, that's one of them right there. Ugh.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Hooray.
Yeah. Next up, the Roman Reigns. He's back.
He is
back. Oh my gosh. He's back, and he is in singles competition against the dastardly Drew McIntyre. This is another one I'm not really... This is the only other match where I didn't, have a pick, because I'm really not sure. I think the obvious choice is Roman Reigns wins because he's back, and, everyone wants to feel good and see Roman Reigns win, right? Because he's back, and he beat cancer. But at the same time, I'm like, man, Drew McIntyre could really stand to win a big match,
He needs a win.
Yeah. And I don't think it would kill Roman Reigns to lose a match. And then, I said this about John Cena a lot, 5 or 6 years ago. I'm like, it wouldn't kill John Cena to lose a match and actually have a redemption arc. Remember that time when John Cena had a bad year because he only held the world title for 4 out of 12 months instead of 8 of them or whatever. He's like, oh man, I had a shit year. Yeah, whatever, dude. Shut up. But I think there is plenty of time for Roman to lose a match, make Drew look good, and have Roman pick it up later. But then also maybe Roman Reigns just wins.
I could see them giving Roman the win because this is his big comeback. His first singles pay-per-view match since the whole leukemia thing. I think they're going to give it to McIntyre, though. I think McIntyre needs the win a lot more than Roman needs a win. I mean, Roman just got the biggest win of his life, legitimately, by going back into remission.
Yeah.
And I think they might actually be a little tentative if they want to push Roman as hard as they did for 2 reasons. One, can the leukemia come back quicker than not? And 2, they're worried. They might be worried about the fans turning on him again if they start shoving him back down our throats.
Yeah, that's true. I feel like the fans have generally come to terms with Roman Reigns and are at peace with him at this point and are ready to love and appreciate him. But we'll see. They're fickle. I've heard.
Fickle.
Somebody said that lately. Fickle. Complacent.
Fickle. Impotent.
Next matchup, another title match. The Intercontinental title will be online as Bobby Lashley defends against Finn Balor, who will be appearing in demon form.
Demon wins.
Yeah.
We don't even need to discuss that one.
If you're bringing out, and I'm kind of bummed that they actually announced it ahead of time and had Finn make funny faces on Raw. And it was just so cool at SummerSlam when it was just a total surprise.
That was. The lights went out and you heard the groaning and the...
But they're just like, fuck it. The demon's coming. Bobby Lashley, you're dead. That it should be a great entrance, and Bobby Lashley is dead. So, yeah, that's an easy one to talk about.
I think we could have spent more time wondering if Dean Ambrose would show up in the Reigns-McIntyre match.
Next up, United States title. Champion Samoa Joe defending against Rey Mysterio, ? Rey apparently hurt his ankle on Monday night, got pulled from a match on Tuesday night, and, maybe he won't be ready to go.
I know. I even noticed at the end of Raw when they did the whole empty arena shot of everyone walking out and, their big hype up for WrestleMania, I noticed Rey off to the side with trainers near him, and I was wondering if he got legit injured, and it looks like he did.
Yeah, I saw a gif of it, he just landed weird, coming off one of his flips or something like that and kind of turned his ankle. So he might have a sprain. If it's just he could conceivably, I'm sure the boy has sprained his ankle plenty of times over the past 20 years. He could still be wrestling, but who knows? This might be an opportunity for a U.S. Open challenge.
I was going to say, I have 2 picks on this one. Either Samoa Joe beats Rey Mysterio or John Cena wins.
John Cena, not in the match, not on the card, shows
John Cena wins.
Yeah.
It's either Samoa Joe or John Cena. That's my pick.
As much as I'd love to see Joe beat John Cena, apparently, I read rumor that was a possibility at one point. That's why R-Truth was talking about how much he looked up to John Cena when he was growing up, despite being 5 years older than John Cena. R-Truth is the best, by the way. He's fucking hilarious.
I'm even wearing my Samoa Joe shirt. So.
Did you see the videos when R-Truth was champ and he was posing as an action figure in stores?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Look up his Twitter and look back a few months if you haven't seen those videos of.
It just wheels him out on the cart.
In the cart, and he's just not moving. It is pretty great.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I got Joe for a win here. But yeah, if things change with Mysterio, anything is possible.
His name is John Cena.
John Cena. Hey, speaking of things, Elias is going to have a performance at WrestleMania, and I read the rumor today that's going to get interrupted. To which
John Cena.
I said, no shit, it's going to get interrupted. That's what happens to Elias. Whatever, I'm ready to walk with Elias. Next matchup, a grudge match between Mr. AJ Styles and Mr. Randall Orton. So they did the phenomenal forearm into RKO spot on Thursday on SmackDown, which is kind of how you thought it was going to go down at WrestleMania, or at least how I thought.
Exactly. That's exactly what I thought they were going to do at WrestleMania, and they already did it. So maybe, I think Styles is going to get the win.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Maybe they have something different in mind, Maybe they have a different RKO.
A Styles clash into an RKO.
I don't know. Yeah, he slithers out of that and gets the RKO.
I wouldn't be shocked.
Yeah, look at this now. Yeah, I think Styles wins. Originally, I had Randy Orton underlined, but I'm like, yeah, with them doing that spot on SmackDown, I'm like, either they have something even better in mind, or AJ's just winning with something different. Yeah.
But then it makes you wonder, is Vince really going to give Impact's homegrown AJ Styles a win against WWE's homegrown Randy Orton?
I mean, this can't be the first time they've wrestled since AJ's been here. I mean, like he's signed back on for another few years. Like AJ is a WWE guy at this point. He's had 2 long championship reigns. So I don't think that that's really a factor, but maybe it is.
We'll never know.
Yeah, where's this? When they had a match. When is this? Last 2 years ago. Randy Orton versus AJ Styles, winner to headline WrestleMania. They were determining WWE champion Bray Wyatt. Remember that guy?
Oh, yeah.
His official #1 contender on the grandest stage of them all. Yeah. Maybe Luke Harper would win the Andre. I know he's wrestling at Access. Man, I love Luke Harper. That dude is so good.
You mean just Harper? Another guy who lost his name?
Harper. Yeah. He's from Rochester. He's from this area, too. So, maybe.
Maybe.
All right. Whew. It's okay. We're over halfway through. In a Falls Count Anywhere match, we have Shane McMahon versus The Miz.
Oh, man. I think the whole reason there's a Falls Count Anywhere stipulation is because Shane's going to jump off something stupid.
And miss.
Yes.
And
then Miz will get the win.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think this has been great because Shane McMahon has been kind of a douchebag for a long time, and now his character is actually leaning into it. And The Miz, like, I know it's his damn catchphrase that he's The Miz and he's awesome, but he has been really, really good the past few years, like kind of ever since he came back with his Hollywood gimmick, and like there was the whole thing with Sandow, but he's always been really on. And in the past year, he's like really stepped it up in the ring as well. And
he's got the fans behind him.
Yeah.
A year ago, if you would have asked if people would be cheering The Miz, would you have ever thought that would happen?
Anything is possible, but he's done it in such an earnest way. It's like, he had a kid and now he's a father, and that's changed him. It's changed his perspective.
It's so organic.
I can relate to that, but
no, you're still a dick.
Yeah, thanks. Even worse now. I'm just more surly because I can't be a dick around my kid. Yeah, I think this is if you're gonna have a damn Shane McMahon match on the show, I like it being against, kind of a spotlight on The Miz. I'd like to see The Miz win. I'd like to see The Miz challenging for championship gold, like WWE championship gold. in the future, not just his Intercontinental Championship gold. I think it's great that The Miz and Daniel Bryan have to constantly be at polar opposites on the alignment chart. Like, Daniel Bryan went evil and Miz immediately started becoming a good guy.
Yeah, it would have been cool to see them team up for a little bit. It would have been weird, but...
Yeah, it would have been super weird. Like, those guys always have to be diametrically opposed. Like, if I weren't predicting certain other things later in the card, I would have said, like, oh, The Miz should be Daniel Bryan's next challenger for the title. Maybe he'll just be Daniel Bryan's next opponent, and they'll run a program with those guys with the alignment switched. But yeah, I think The Miz wins here.
Another one we're in agreement on.
Yeah. Next up, the farewell match for Kurt Angle against his greatest rival, Baron Corbin.
You know who wins this match?
Is it John Cena?
The fans win this match. Why the fuck are they going with this match? They heard the feedback from the fans that nobody wants this match to happen, and they still going through. The only thing I can hope is that Kurt Angle wins in a total squash, and then he demands a better challenger, and here comes John Cena for his fourth match.
Yeah, John Cena. They actually have him in 4 matches throughout the show. He's in the men's battle royal, the women's battle royal, and by this time he'll be coming out as United States champion. But maybe he'll be Raw Tag Team champion as well.
He's gonna surprise Buddy Murphy as Juan Cena.
Yeah, I guess
205 Live.
Kind of the thing that I read is just because Baron Corbin is kind of unique in that people hate him. He's not just like a cool bad guy that's like, oh, they're the bad guys, but they're still appreciably cool. Like, Baron Corbin sucks and everybody hates him. Like, he's an actual heel. And you gotta wonder, like, does that border on like X-Pac heel, like, just go away? Or like the Sheamus heel of like indifference. But I think it's just, people hate Baron Corbin, like everything about him, but it's like, man, Kurt Angle's last match against Baron Corbin. Really?
Baron fucking Corbin.
I mean, is this the thing where it's like Baron Corbin wins, which if this is going to be the match, I have Baron Corbin winning. You go out on your back, right? And does he just keep rubbing that in people's faces for years and years that he retired Kurt Angle?
Retired Kurt Angle.
Or is there going to be some kind of a swerve here where it ends up being John Cena versus Kurt Angle and things come full circle in a weird way, That would be the ideal ending. That seems like it makes sense. And maybe the problem is that everybody figured that out too fast, and that's why they're doing this Baron Corbin thing. But I don't know. I'm curious to see if this match actually goes down as advertised or if there is some unforeseen twists or turns here ahead of us.
We shall see.
We shall see. Next match, Triple H versus Batista. Whew.
I am going to go with Batista.
I also went with Batista.
Really?
Yeah.
What are your reasonings?
Fuck Triple H. Fuck him. Man, whatever. Why? Just that, like, it's a weird thing. Because Triple H is such a weird existence, on the show, because he's obviously, he's the guy that runs NXT, so people love him for that. But he's often an asshole on the main roster shows, so he's a dick there. And the last few WrestleManias, he's been a dick, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's a dick to Kurt Angle and Ronda Rousey. Maybe she deserves it. He's been a dick to Roman Reigns. He probably deserved it. At some point, I'm sure, somebody else deserved it. Like, he's traditionally a heel in the ring, and now you're going to be like, oh no, he was a nice guy all this time. Like Michael Cole being like, oh, Triple H has always treated me fairly. Followed by footage of him getting a freaking wedgie back in the DX days. Like, no, come on, give me a freaking break. But man, Dave is just so cool, right? Like,
I love Batista. I hope I'm giving him the win because I hope he sticks around at least until SummerSlam, get a few more matches out of him.
Yeah.
Him showing up on Monday, standing in the ring while everyone's cheering, and then just silently points at the screen for the video package. And then it comes back to him. He still hasn't said a word, takes off his glasses, looks in the camera, Hunter, kiss my ass. And that's it. That's the promo.
Yeah.
Triple H goes on this 20-minute diatribe of like, Dave, I'm going to come after you. Dave, you're going after 70-year-old man. David, Mr. Bautista.
Yeah.
Trying to make it as real as possible. And Batista's like, blow me.
Yeah. Yeah. No. And Dave has brought a lot of, he is a damn actor now, and he brings a lot more to these promo segments than, a lot of the other wrestlers do. Hey, you know who else took acting classes? Becky Lynch. And it shows.
Yeah.
And how they deliver their lines, their emotions and the things they want to say. And like, yeah, I just, these are both part-time guys, which always sucks. But I just I would like to see Batista win. Just maybe this is just me like going against my better judgment of Triple H has to win all the time over everybody, and maybe Triple H just wanted to get his win back and blah 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 blah. But I'd rather see Batista win, like continue the storyline going forward. Don't just have it be like a one and done for Batista. Have him hang around a little bit longer. Like I know he wants to wrestle and do stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've heard him say that for years. Though he also, used to play up that like, oh, WWE, they won't pick up the phone. They won't call me back. So maybe they were playing up the storyline well in advance. You never know when you're being worked, as it were.
True.
But yeah, I hope it's more than just a one-off.
I just think the stipulation lends itself to Batista winning. If Triple H loses, he must retire from in-ring competition. Oh, what? Both matches he has every year?
Yeah. Yeah. And it's time.
Big fucking deal.
It is time for Triple H to stop wrestling. Like, I didn't watch the Saudi Arabia show, The Crown Jewel, for the obvious fucking horrible reasons. And not just the card, like the country. But just like seeing clips of his match with The Undertaker and how bad, like both of those guys just need to stop. Like, you're done, man. Like, you are done. You can come out and pedigree someone here and there. And also, don't make this a freaking 25-minute match. Go like 10-15. Like, this does not need to be a Triple H WrestleMania snooze fest,
Yeah.
Ugh.
And then really, if Triple H does lose, which I hope to God he does, when has retirement ever stopped someone from wrestling?
Exactly. Like, eventually,
Ask
it's like,
Terry
oh, I'm
Funk.
retired. I'm retired. Ask literally everybody.
Yeah.
Ask Shawn Michaels.
He was the one holdout, and
He
even he came
almost
back
made
for
it.
that Saudi money.
He almost made it. Ric Flair's been retired. Mick Foley's been retired. You're never retired. There's always one last match, There's always one more match to get you in there. The money is right. The timing is right to get in there and do something.
The only true retirement is death. As morbid as that is.
And unfortunately, it tends to come sooner than you'd like it.
Yeah.
Woo! All right, next match. We have only 3 more to go, and it is the big ones.
The biggins.
The big ones. We have Brock Lesnar defending his Universal Championship against Seth Rollins, the winner of the Royal Rumble. Who wins?
I'm going.
This match should be great. This might be the best match on the card.
It might be
one of the best ones. Like they have great chemistry. Brock's recent matches with small guys have been great, and I think this match is going to be awesome.
Brock is in give a shit mode, which is important because when he gives a shit, he's amazing.
Yeah, he's one of the best wrestlers of all time when he gives a shit. Give him a lot of crap for being, a giant human testicle, but like he wrestled some amazing matches back in his prime, and yeah, when he isn't just going to throw 20 German suplexes, he has some great matches. And a few months ago, I would have picked Seth Rollins to win this match easily, but a couple things happened, and I'm picking Brock Lesnar to retain again, which is exhausting because I want the Universal title to be on the damn show,
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't everybody? But a couple things happened. One of which is that Roman Reigns came back, which I don't think anybody expected him to be back this fast. So suddenly it's like, well, do you want, and a lot of this depends on what Brock is doing with his career in UFC and blah, blah, blah. And he's back in the testing pool and he should be fighting at some point, I guess. But you have to think they want to bring things back around full circle, have Roman Reigns beat Brock Lesnar to become champion again and just reset things all over again to where they were last year. I don't want them to do that. I am ready for the Roman Reigns Brock Lesnar saga to be over, and have
Agreed.
been for at least 2 years now. I was ready. We did this podcast last year, and I was ready for it to be over. I think that was my opinion last year. It was like, please just let Roman Reigns win so this can be over. And mind you, it didn't end until SummerSlam. It didn't end until SummerSlam. It went on through another Saudi Arabia show, and yeah, it didn't end for another 6 months, and I feel like it's going to happen here. The other thing that happened, and which we'll be talking about in a second here, is that Kofi Kingston caught fucking fire.
He did.
In the last couple months, and it's difficult to see like the three kind of underdog challengers all winning their belts, and really all three or four of the major singles titles changing hands all in one night. And you had Seth Rollins standing tall on Raw, which is sometimes a kiss of death. So I think Brock retains again, but I would be ecstatic to be wrong.
No, I would love to see Seth Rollins win, but you pretty much nailed everything I was thinking, where I really don't think they're going to give all three of the happy endings that people want. They're gonna fuck over someone, and I could see Seth Rollins being the one that they kind of dick over, because let's be fair, Seth had his WrestleMania title win.
He did.
It was a Money in the Bank win, but he still won the championship at WrestleMania.
And it was awesome.
That was incredible. Him swinging the belt around and above his head after he won was one of the coolest visuals of WrestleMania.
Yeah.
And I think that they want to keep Brock Lesnar as the final boss of WWE.
Yeah. I think that's how they want to complete, I guess, some consideration towards Roman Reigns' health, and if they're kind of iffy about that and they want to build back up to that again. But, I think they see that now. It's just like, okay, well, we can have Brock win here and then move him into a program with Roman and have Roman win at SummerSlam or something like that. But I'd love to see, like, Seth has been like really the best wrestler in the company over the course of the past year. And I would love to see him get rewarded with his championship. And I would love to see that freaking championship around
on
for
TV.
Every show. It's because it's been around about 9 months of its existence. Since it was Finn Balor, remember that guy, was crowned at SummerSlam of that year, immediately got injured. Kevin Owens was champion, lost it to Goldberg. Remember that?
Yep.
And then since then we've been in the Lesnar zone, with just like the one little hiccup of Roman winning for a few months before he had to abdicate it, put into abeyance, vacate it as he were last fall. So yeah, about 9 months out of the past like 2.5 years of this title's existence has it been not off the show with Brock Lesnar. But there's other people that got to win.
There are.
Next matchup, the WWE Championship. Daniel Bryan defends against Kofi fucking Kingston. What?
If they don't give Kofi this win, there's going to be a riot.
I don't know why you would even do this if you weren't going to have Kofi Kingston win the match, because this isn't the main event, and if Kofi doesn't win, it is going to suck all the air out of that arena.
It is.
At this point, man, this has been an incredible meteoric rise for Kofi Kingston. Every year when it's Rumble time, people start being like, man, they should just have Kofi just win the Rumble. They should have Kofi win the Rumble. They should have him challenge, win his title. He deserves it. Dude's been around for this long, and it doesn't happen, and like whatever. And I've seen Xavier Woods on Twitter for years. Like, he'll mention from time to time, like his main goal, like New Day's main goal, is for Kofi Kingston to be champion. It's like, yeah, I mean, that sounds great, but like, when's it ever going to happen? How's it going to happen? Well, how it's going to happen is that Mustafa Ali, that was his name at the time, so I'm still going to call him that, gets injured. Kofi Kingston gets into that gauntlet match, and things changed that one night.
Yeah.
The plan I had read for WrestleMania is that Daniel Bryan was supposed to defend against Kevin Owens. That was their plan. And then just that gauntlet match happened, and I think they kind of tested the water a little more at Elimination Chamber. Like, that was the best chamber match, I think, that I can remember seeing, just because of how ridiculously hot that last 15 minutes were between Kofi Kingston and Daniel Bryan.
Oh, yeah.
And, I think they saw that and that reaction. They were like, that's our WrestleMania match. If they didn't think that, I think they would have just done Kofi versus Bryan at Fastlane and been done with it and moved on,
Yeah.
But you do this storyline, you screw them over at Fastlane, you screw them over in gauntlet matches. You have to have the New Day, Woods and E go out there and win the shot for him to get to this point. Kofi has to win here. He has to win. He has to win.
The only way I could see him losing is if they, for some reason, some stupid, fucked up reason, decide to turn Big E or Xavier heel on Kofi, which I hope they don't do. It's just, I don't put it past Vince to do anything stupid like that.
No, I think they see Kofi winning here. I think that's what's going to happen. I think he's going to get his moment. He might lose it on Tuesday. It doesn't matter. He needs to win. Yeah. As long as he has that WrestleMania moment, it'll be a success. He needs to be a former heavyweight champion. I hope they don't turn the New Day against him. Those guys have been. If they do. I mean, they've even said that they would quit if they were ever broken up. I mean, it's illogical with just the way those guys interact and talk about each other. Maybe that'll change in 6-7 months or whatever, but I just don't think it makes sense to do that obvious, Big E heel turn. Let's face it would be Big E. Yeah. I think it's just better to keep them together. And yeah, I think Kofi wins. Kofi wins. Kofi Mania. Kofi wins. Kofi Mania. Running wild. I mean, you've been saying that on the show for months now, Kofi Mania. So yeah. As soon as they took him out of the match at Fastlane, I was like, this is happening. It's funny how much it parallels the rise of Daniel Bryan, 5 years ago. And just the fans willed him into this match. And I can't wait. That might be what I'm most looking forward to seeing. And finally, the main event of the evening. Let's get ready to suck it. Triple threat winner take all match between Raw Women's Champion Ronda Rousey, the recently crowned SmackDown Women's Champion Charlotte, and the winner of the 2019 Royal Rumble, Becky Lynch. Whew, what a twisted path we have taken to get here, right? Such a convoluted story. They made it too complex. They made it too complicated. I want Becky to win this match so bad because I think she deserves it, and she deserves to be the crown champion when the show goes off the air, holding the titles above her head as confetti's falling and everything else. But deep down in the pit of my stomach, I have this awful feeling that they're going to, I have to say it. I have this awful feeling that they're going to put the belts, both of them, on Charlotte. Oh. Because she's the chosen one. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of why we're here. It was last WrestleMania, I heard people talking. It's they want to do Charlotte versus Rousey at next WrestleMania. That's what they want to do. Mm-hmm. But then Becky Lynch happened. And I think since that Raw invasion back in November when Becky beat the crap out of everybody and got her nose broken, this has been the match that people wanted to see. Yes. Well, no, this hasn't been the match that people want to see. People want to see Becky Lynch versus Ronda Rousey. One-on-one. That's what people wanted to see. One-on-one. But they couldn't let go of their stubborn desire to have Charlotte in the match. If you're asking me, I would have had Charlotte challenging Asuka for the championship at WrestleMania. Which is how it should have been. That is what WrestleMania should have been. That would have been great and fine, but they wanted to have Charlotte in the match, and I heard that it was Vince wanted the match like this. He's well, just in case someone gets injured, they still have a match. Bullshit. That is your excuse for putting Charlotte in. Give me a freaking break. Yeah. And at least they've made Charlotte out to be a heel here, clear and plain as day. She's been leaning into her inherent flairness, Yeah, they just they took Becky out of the match. They suspended Becky. They've arrested Becky twice. They had her earn her way back into the match. She's been on Raw every week. They would have just been a lot easier. You just had her win the Royal Rumble, challenge Ronda, and then stay on SmackDown for 2 months, and then maybe show up in the last week or so to to be face to face with her. But you know, at the end of the day, the match should be great. You know, when they get
I expect it to be a barn burner.
And it is the main event of the show. And, you know, maybe that, you know, honestly, being the main event with the spotlight on them, maybe it's like, okay, you want Charlotte in that match to help just carry the work, you know?
Yeah.
Because Ronda still is very inexperienced. And also with Charlotte, you know, you're going to get her to do her big moonsault to the floor and probably like a double Spanish fly, which is the most insane, dumbass wrestling move. Like, is ridiculous. But I think at the end of the day, I think Becky Lynch wins. And, you know, there's the terror, much like there was when I think, you know, when you had Daniel Bryan challenging at WrestleMania 30, when you had He Who Must Not Be Named challenging at WrestleMania 20, you know, that things are just going to go to a different way, that they're not going to crown that person champion no matter how much you want them to be. That they're going to go with, you know, they want Ronda, the popular mainstream star, to be holding both belts at the end of the show. They want Charlotte, you know, their chosen one, to be holding both belts at the end of the show. But if you're going to make fans happy, you have Becky Lynch holding both belts to close the show. Like, that's just what you do, man.
Yeah.
And this is her moment, and she won the Rumble, and she's fought for this, and no one would have picked this, you know, a year ago. For Becky to be in this position, but I think Becky Lynch wins.
I agree, although I will say I won't be surprised if Charlotte wins, just because I have that awful feeling in the pit of my stomach that, I think that'll be the reaction if Charlotte wins. There won't be cheers, there won't be boos, it'll just be like 80,000 people going,
Well, I think this is the moment where you have... So remember how the SummerSlam triple threat went down, where Becky Lynch had Carmella beat, and Charlotte came in and did her finisher and then pinned Becky and won. So I see it being a thing where possibly Charlotte has the match won, and then Becky comes in and pulls something out and steals the win away from her, you know? So
I can see that.
Yeah. So it kind of like, you know, it calls back to that finish. And also in that kind of instance, you end up having Charlotte being the one who loses, who takes the loss or whatever. So Ronda can have her, you know, well, I never got pinned or submitted. And WWE can have their, well, she never got pinned or submitted. So she has her grounds to challenge. Like, even if she's going away for a while, you know, she can still come back and be like, oh, you know, or she can leave and be like, oh, wrestling's bullshit. I didn't even, you know, pin or submit, blah, blah, blah. Sandy Hook was a hoax, blah, blah, blah. She's a real piece of shit. And she can go away for a while. She can go away for a while. I'm fine with that. And then come back and, you know, challenge at some other point and, you know, just pick things right back up. You know, Charlotte can go back off to SmackDown or whatever and whatever. But yeah, I think Becky wins. That bottom line, Becky wins.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Although if Seth Rollins ends up beating Lesnar, I think that's more reason that we would see Charlotte. Yeah.
Yeah. If both Seth and Kofi have won going into that main event, oh man,
shit's gonna get scary.
Yeah. That's like, man, at WrestleMania 30, going into the Undertaker match, I texted our friend Robert V. Aldrich before the match, and I was like, man, too many good guys are winning tonight. I feel like something crazy is going to happen. And then the craziest thing happened. I shit you not.
Oh, my Lord.
Yeah, and like at the time I was just kind of thinking like, oh, they're going to have Bryan lose. But then The Undertaker lost. And whew. But that's a show of shows.
That is a show. That's a hell of a show. That's a long fucking show.
Yeah, it's a long show. Hopefully it'll be great and entertaining. There's lots of potential for great matches. There's too many matches still. Too many people in too many matches. But, you know, usually they come through with WrestleMania, no matter how bad things have been beforehand.
True. I think it'll be a good show.
Yep.
I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait for this weekend.
Yep.
It's going to be crazy.
Yeah. I mean, unless, like, if, like, Brock, Daniel Bryan, and, like, Ronda Rousey or Charlotte all win, like, I'm out. Done. What did you do? How did you ruin? Why did you just there was a WrestleMania like a couple years ago like that where I was just like, they didn't have anything you could cheer for. Like all of the heels won, or too many heels won. And it was just like, like they just didn't have anything you can cheer about. Maybe it was last year. I don't know.
I don't know. They all blur together anymore.
God, did they run together. It's like, you tell me there was 4 WrestleManias between this one and 30. I don't believe you. There was like 2. But yeah.
But yeah, that is it for WrestleMania. Tim, always a pleasure having you on, and it was nice to have you run the show for once. That was fun.
Yeah, welcome. My back hurts from the carry. From the hard carry.
I am a fat piece of shit, and you had to carry me.
All right. Well, everyone else enjoy the rest of the show. I'm not on it.
Yeah, we're going to take a quick break. We are going to be back with more show. Tim, do you have any final words?
Oh, I don't. Jeez.
You had an hour and 10 minutes to think of final words, and you didn't think of anything.
I said a lot of words. Oh, there's Io Shirai holding the NXT Championship. She's not winning it. Their last words. There you go. All right. Whew.
I am a real American. Fight for the rights of every man. I am a real American. Fight for what's right. Fight for your life. When it goes crashing down and it hurts inside.
Welcome back, everyone. Thanks for sticking around. Another thanks to Tim for coming on and chatting wrestles with me. That's always fun to do. But more show to take care of. Cole's here. How are you doing?
I'm here. I'm alive. And, well, I'm not kicking, but I am alive.
Did you like the wrestle talk?
It was fantastic. It was a thing that happened.
It was a thing.
And that's pretty much my extent with the wrestles.
Well, I appreciate that you hung out during the wrestles.
I mean, I did go take a shower partway through, but it's fine. They're talking about wrestling. This is a good time for me to go scrub my ass.
That's adorable.
Well, at least I was squeaky clean when I come back.
Squeaky clean. Oh, God. Oh, man. WrestleMania. I can't wait for that. It's going to be so good this weekend.
I mean, John Oliver did a thing about the wrestles.
Yeah, he did. That was a pretty interesting episode of Last Week Tonight.
I was very surprised by that. I don't tune into John Oliver for wrestle talk. And I was like, what?
And the best part is you could tell that he's a fan.
Yeah, it was a genuinely good episode. And I mean, despite not knowing 9/10 about what they were talking about, I was still keeping up and at least understood it. Yay me.
Hooray!
Yeah, it's the little victories in life.
Oh, man. So what have you been up to this week?
Lots of reviews. I had
Which
a
we'll
lot
get
of games this week. Yeah, I had a lot to keep me busy this week.
You did.
So mostly that in my spare time, and then still working on the house, but that's a thing. That will forever be a thing, I think.
How's the flooring coming along?
So, I don't remember if I mentioned or not that we got a really good deal on the flooring, but we bought it from like an outlet place. So we only paid 50 cents a square foot for it. And the catch is that like it's either been overstock or returned or for whatever reason. And I have no idea what the brand of this flooring is. I don't know shit about it except for it's laminate. And I got the gray. And normally you pop that shit together and it just goes down. And that's it. Easy peasy. This is not being easy peasy. And we get like 4 rows of it done. And then one somewhere back at the beginning will go boink and pop out. And you're like,
oh, no.
Why do you hate me? We'll get started on it and we'll get a good run of it going. And my kitchen's not very big. So like by the time we've hit the 4th row, we're about a third of the way through the room. And then it's boing. And you're like, oh my God.
You son of a bitch.
You have to go take all that shit back up to get to the one that popped.
Oh, man.
And do it all over again. And that's just, it's been all day. Just lay it down, boing. And I don't know what we're going to do about it. I joked that I was going to get, I use this super crazy strong ass glue whenever I make keychains and stuff out of my art. It's called E6000. E6000 will hold together anything. And I've been joking to David that I was going to like go in there and start pouring E6000 in all the tongue and grooves.
Do it.
So whenever you pop it together, it wouldn't have no choice but to fucking stay.
You might as well.
At this point, what's the worst that could happen? I only paid 50 cents a square foot for it anyway.
There you go.
So it's been a struggle. The goal was to have everything done today so that number one could have a sleepover with her friends tonight, and I actually had to cancel the sleepover and tell them they can come next week, but we ain't getting this shit done. Sorry, kids.
Oh boy.
Yeah, that's one of those unfortunate mom moments where you have to be the shithead and be like, can't let you have a house full of people. Sorry.
Because of the flooring.
Yeah, I would hate for somebody to like break their neck on a rogue piece of laminate that pops up when we aren't expecting it. Am I eternal or no? Carnage said he thought I was the cool mom, and I'm not.
Carnage throwing shade at you.
You know what's funny is that to number one's friends, I'm one of the cool moms, and then like to number one, I'm the strictest bitch to ever see the light of day. she had stayed a couple days with her friends the last couple days because they're on spring break right now, and so like they're all just bouncing back and forth to each other's houses, and that's why we were next on the list. Sorry, I ruined spring break. But
how dare you?
I know, but like she had went and stayed with one group, and then the next day I'm like, okay, what time's your dad supposed to pick you up? And she's like, well, I'm going to stay another night. And I was like, see, that was phrased as a statement and not a question. And so now it's wrong. And so now that she's currently in the doghouse and on laundry duty and dish duty for the next couple days, yeah, she doesn't think I'm the cool mom right now.
Oh, boy.
It'll be okay in a couple of weeks. Like, maybe I'll make it up to her before the week is over and, like, dye her hair for her because she's been wanting to get it dyed again. So maybe I'll be the cool mom and dye her hair for her. But as far as everything else goes, I'm the shit mom right now.
Oh, Lord. What are we going to do with you?
That's a good question. That is a loaded question. You should probably just like dig a hole and throw me out in the yard and be done with it.
Just take you out back behind the shed.
Yeah. Don't even bother taking
ya.
me behind the shed. Like, just put it on display. Let everybody see. Be like, this is what happens when you go old and eccentric, because we just pop you for everybody to watch.
Public execution.
Yeah, and that's what you get. Don't
Live on Twitch. That would mean you'd have to turn your camera on, though.
Ugh, fuck that.
It's okay. It's not like Skype shows up on the fucking streams anymore.
Well, this PC... Oops, I dropped my pencil. This PC doesn't have a camera. So I am safe on this one. I don't have to worry about anything magically turning itself on.
That's good.
This PC is camera free. I would like to eventually like set up a camera so that I can record when I'm painting. But then also I get horribly anxious about the thought of somebody watching me paint. I tried to stream, I think it was 2 months or so ago. I had got, David had bought me new paints for my birthday and our anniversary and everything. And so I was streaming as I set up my palette. And like every time I was trying to hold the tubes, my hands were shaking because my anxiety was kicking in, and I was just like, those are some of the ugliest paint palettes I've ever seen in my life. And if I didn't feel bad enough about doing that and them looking as ugly as they did, in my mind I was like, whatever, I'm the one fucking using it, who cares? But then I turned around and I bought some that had been hand poured by another woman off of Etsy because she had some colors that I didn't have. And so I bought those and like those come in and they were filled to the brim. They're perfectly smooth tops. Mine are like just like somebody puked up colors in these little pans. I got my money's worth out of her paint pans. Mine, we'll see.
Oh boy.
They paint just as well, but they look a little rougher in the palette, that's for sure. You can definitely tell the difference between the ones I did and the ones I bought.
Oh God. Just a little bit of a difference.
Oh my God. Like, even though I've used the colors that I bought, they're still very nice and smooth with just little tiny dips in them where I've picked the pigment up. And the other ones, mine are already like you can see the bottom.
Oh God.
All the paint has just like separated up to the edges. It's so bad. I'm a terrible artist is what I'm trying to say.
Of course you are. Your dick book still isn't out.
I know. You would be surprised at how long it takes to make a coloring book if you're doing like when I got the whole I'm going to make a coloring book idea, I had been watching YouTube tutorials on how to do it. But what these people were doing was going to like Pixabay and Unsplash and all these like stock photography sites. They get stock photography, they'd run it through an Adobe filter that would turn it into line art, And then they'd say, oh, it's a coloring book.
Oh, that's bullshit.
And I'm like, and these people are like showing receipts where they're making $1,000 a month like this. And I'm sitting here going, yeah, but I'm actually drawing mine.
Yeah, that's fucked up. That's cheating. Fuck that.
And so it's taking forever. Because even like you can do the sketch and it's quick. And I'm like, oh, I got a dick wearing an outfit. But to make it something that's actually like looks good and people are going to want to pay money for means each one I scan it in and then I put it on the computer after I've sketched it. And then I'm actually like going over it with the digital, digital ink and making sure my line widths are good. And then I'll sit and I'll look at one and I'll go, okay, well, that one's line widths look fucked up compared to this one beside of it. So now I have to go back and do them both again. No. Because I'm a horrible perfectionist. And then like, I'll get a few of them where they look good. And then I've been trying to throw in like word searches and shit too, because I feel like you need more than just thick coloring pages. But I've been trying to make everything cock themed. And
nice.
sometimes your penis joke well runs dry. And then you have to sit there for a few days and be like, I got to come up with some more euphemisms to go into this word search.
Hit up Urban Dictionary. I'm sure they could help you out.
I'm terrified of Urban Dictionary. I'm old, and Urban Dictionary teaches me things I didn't need to know.
True.
It's scary. And I don't know about you, but I have terrible button clicking syndrome. I see a link, and I click that shit. And I don't care where it goes. And then, like, you start off reading a Wikipedia page about New York, and then all of a sudden you're reading some really scarable shit about cannibals and Holocaust, and you're like, okay, I don't know what I did, but okay.
Yeah, I've gone down that rabbit hole before, where I jump on Wikipedia and was like, oh, let me look up this band that I'm listening to, and then like 4 hours later, I'm still looking through bands and albums and everything else. You
start with band, and you end up watching a band movie. And I mean band as in BANNED. And then you're like, I don't know how I got here.
Oh, God. Carnage is posting Rick Astley in the chat. What the hell?
That is, look, I can avoid clicking links on Twitch because I have I think it's BTTV does it, where like you can hover over it and it tells you a summary of what it is.
Yeah. That's what I did.
Yeah, like I already know. You can't punk me like that. At least not on Twitch.
Never gonna give you up.
My problem is like wiki pages are just a spiraling death hole of what? You end up on some crazy shit.
Yeah. Speaking of never gonna give you up, I wanted to take a couple of seconds to give a couple of shout outs for some of our listeners who can't give us up and have recently subbed to us, including Swizzlers, Studa, and you.
Yay!
Recent subs in between last episode and this one.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah. had to give the shout outs on the show.
Hooray!
But speaking of the show, we should probably get to some news, considering it's been 15 minutes of just talking about flooring and arting and everything else.
I mean, it's kind of a miracle it was only 15 minutes.
True.
So,
but considering we just spent an hour plus with Tim talking about wrestling, it's about time we got to video game stuff.
Sure. Let's do this.
All right. Some news of the week. I think the biggest news of the week, GameStop posted a net loss for 2018 of $673 million.
I'm genuinely surprised it's not more.
Isn't that crazy? 673 million. No Time said he subbed too. It didn't show up on my thing, but shout out to No Time as well.
Thank you, No Time. No Time is good people.
Definitely good people.
Not GameStop.
GameStop is not really good people, although they've been getting a lot more exclusives lately, which sucks because I hate buying from GameStop when I can avoid it.
Yeah. I think ours closed. I don't think we even have one anymore. I think they turned it into a nail salon.
Nice, I guess.
Nah. I'm a nail biter. I don't care.
Oh, God. Apparently, the biggest loss that they had was on pre-owned games, which really their pre-owned game prices fucking blow.
Right.
Like, I could go to Best Buy because I still have my gamer club and get a brand new game for $48, or I could get a used one at GameStop for $55. What's the point? I would rather spend $5 and get a brand new one.
Yeah, I've never seen the point. The only time I've ever bought used games from GameStop is like during Black Friday when they do the buy two get one free type thing.
Yeah.
And even then, I'm always a super cheapskate ass, and it's like $10 and under.
Yeah, every now and then I'll buy something used there. Usually if I have a coupon or something.
Yeah. They used to like go all out and have what was their little club thing called? The reward club.
Yeah.
And I used that a lot back in the 360 days. But after switching to the one, I was like, meh. Never re-upped it and kind of just stopped going because I buy everything digitally now.
Yeah. I'm still a subscriber, mainly for the Game Informer magazine. But, you know, when you do trade stuff in, because I had to trade a couple of games in to pre-order Borderlands, which we'll get to in a little bit.
Yeah.
But I like that extra 10%. It adds up every now and then. It actually kind of matters. At least if you trade in a bigger game, it'll get you a few extra bucks.
I'm kind of fascinated by the idea of you trading in games because I feel like you going through the games trying to pick who's getting traded in is like you picking through your children.
It is so hard. And the worst part is like they have an app on the phone that you could look up trade values. I'll be like, oh, let me trade this game in. $1.50. No, never mind. I'll keep that one. Let me trade this game in. $2.25. Nope, never mind. Let me trade in this one. $3. Nope, never mind. It sucks trying to look up trade values to trade stuff in because their values are awful. They are fucking terrible. The only time you get anything worthwhile with the game is within like the first month that it releases.
There was one, David, again, back in 360 day. David had went to go trade in a bunch of games just to clear off our shelf. It was shit we wasn't playing. And they had taken 2 or 3 of them, but then there was one Madden game. And they were like, oh, it's got a scratch and we'll have to fix it. And they were only going to take the trade for like $1 anyway, like $1.25 or something. And they wanted $2.50 for the fix fee.
Oh, God.
And I was like, I'm not paying you to take that shit. I'm not at all surprised that GameStop goes under.
Yeah. I don't know. Fuck them. That's what I think. Fuck them. As long as they don't go out of business before Borderlands 3 comes out. We might as well talk about Borderlands 3 because that's the other big thing of the week.
Yeah.
It's been confirmed Borderlands 3 has a release date of September 13th. And to the joy of many people, it is going to be a 6-month Epic Store exclusive on PC.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of people are really thrilled.
Yeah.
I have so many mixed feelings about Epic Store. Like, Epic makes enough money off Fortnite. But then again, Steam needed competition. And that's a good way to go about it.
Yeah. I hate exclusive shit. I am so tired of exclusivity.
Yeah, I'm more bothered by the idea of exclusivity as opposed to whether it be Steam or Epic's. I mean, at least with PC, you know, it's just a matter of having a different launcher. But there's reasons why people don't want to put their credit card into Epic Game Store. I've heard a lot of shit about their security is not much. So I can understand why people are like, no, I don't want that shit.
Yeah.
But
I have the Epic Store launcher on my computer, but the only reason I have it is to get the free games. I will never put billing information on the Epic Store because I don't trust them.
I didn't realize there were free games on it.
Yeah, every 2 weeks they do a different free game.
Oh, shit.
I don't know what the current one is, but the next one later on in April is going to be Transistor. So that's a pretty decent game. I should probably check what the current one is and download that. Not download, just add it to my account, because I don't download PC games because I don't fucking play them. But if they're free, I'm going to add them to my account that I'm not going to use. Eventually,
though, you're going to get to refit your computer.
Yeah,
and then
eventually.
you might play them, and it could happen.
By 2025, it'll happen.
I say 2022. I'm optimistic.
Well, we got a quarter of the way there in a year, so it could be 2022.
Mm-hmm. See, you're welcome.
We'll see. That's if people still like us.
How could you not like me? Do you hear this voice?
Yes, and that is the reason.
Don't answer that.
Continuing on with Borderlands 3, they confirmed that there will be the standard edition of the game, a deluxe edition of the game, a super deluxe edition of the game, and a diamond loot chest collector's edition, which retails for $250 and sold out basically immediately on the 2K store and GameStop, where it's an exclusive.
Ow.
Yeah.
And what do you even get in that to make it worth $250?
I actually think this might be worth the $250 because it includes...
Since you said that, did you pre-order it?
Yes, that is what I traded stuff into GameStop for. I traded a handful of games in to put $25 down on it. I was told that it's not guaranteed I'm going to get it because apparently while I was driving up there, GameStop sent an email to the store saying that they were cutting off pre-orders. But the store still let her pre-order the game for me. So technically I have a pre-order. I just don't know if it's going to come through or not.
Yeah. Good luck with that.
I guess we'll find out. I'll find out by September.
Yeah.
But for $250, you get a diamond loot chest replica, which I have 2 of their other loot chests that they've put out over the years, and they're really nice chests. So I have a feeling this one will be nice. A Sanctuary 3 snap model, so a model that you could put together of the city.
Okay.
10 4-inch tall character figures.
Oh.
10 of them. 5 art lithographs, 4 vault keychains, a cloth map of the galaxy, the game, obviously, a motherfucking steelbook, the deluxe bonus content, the gold weapons skin pack, and the season pass.
Wow.
So you're getting a lot of shit for the price.
Yeah, that's a good point. But still, shit.
Carnage, how the hell does this thing fit in your door? I mean, it's not that big. It's not a 1-to-1 replica size of the fucking loot chest. It's, I don't know, about the width of a human, I guess. It's decently sized. It's just not massive, though.
I'm a fairly wide human.
Okay, a normal human. Because I'm a fairly wide one as well.
I was trying to gauge that. And I was like, I don't think I'm a good measuring stick here.
Yeah, me neither. But No Time had some news to talk about. Sega announced that they were going to be releasing a brand new mini console later on this year, which we've seen mini Sega consoles in the past released by AT Games, and they have always been awful. Like, they have always had emulation issues, sound problems, all this other shit. This one, Sega is doing in-house by the M2 team, who are the ones responsible for all the ports that they've done to Nintendo and like the 3D versions that they've done on 3DS. So it looks like they might actually have a decent console this time around. It's going to be releasing later on this year. It's going to have 40 games included, all Sega games. They're not going to have any third-party generic bullshit on there like the AT Games ones have had of like unlicensed indie homebrew, whatever. So it's going to be 40 actual Genesis games. My biggest complaint is that while it comes with 2 controllers, they're only 3-button controllers. The original Genesis 3-button, they're not including the 6-button controllers, which I don't get at all.
Yeah.
Especially because Japan is getting 6-button controllers.
Why do they keep doing this?
I don't know.
Release the same goddamn version and both play. That just seems like more effort than it's worth, because now you got to manufacture 2.
Yeah, it's so stupid. I don't get it. I don't get it at all.
Weird.
Yeah, there's I'm trying to pull up what games have been announced so far, because they only announced a handful of games to date.
Yeah.
Including Echo the Dolphin, Castlevania, Space Harrier 2, Shining Force, Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine, Toe Jam and Earl, Comic Zone, Sonic the Hedgehog, Altered Beast, and Gunstar Heroes. So that's what we know so far.
I would buy it just for Echo the Dolphin.
I will probably pick this one up. It's supposed to retail for $80, which isn't that bad.
Yeah.
Again, my biggest issue is the fact that it comes with 3-button controllers. I hope they change their mind.
I doubt they will, but at least make the 6-button one available.
Yeah, that would be good. I would definitely buy a 6-button controller.
Because they can't use the argument that they don't have it if they're releasing it in Japan. So they have it.
They're just bitches.
Yeah, they need to make that shit available for everybody.
Yeah. Some other news. Xbox gamers in the UK are in for some bad news as the price of Xbox Live is increasing, most likely due to the Brexit situation. 1 month is going from £6 to £7. 3 months is going from £15 to $18. And 1 year is going from £40 to $50. The price hike goes into effect May 8th for new subscribers and August 7th for current subscribers.
At least it's not a big jump.
Yeah, and it puts it more in line with what PS Plus is over there. Mm-hmm. So it's not horrible, but it still sucks for UK gamers. But hey, you're the ones who voted for Brexit, so suck it. This news has me excited. The new expansion for Final Fantasy XIV called Shadowbringers has been rated in Brazil for PlayStation 4, PC, and Xbox One.
Oh.
Leading to speculation that the game might finally be coming to Xbox. I guess we'll find out closer to the July 2nd release for Shadowbringers, but it's reason to be excited. If this is legit, maybe we're going to see Final Fantasy XIV hit Xbox. That would be amazing. I would happily dive back into that game on Xbox.
I have not played Final Fantasy. Obviously, I say that every time we bring it up. Mm-hmm. But I would like an opportunity to. So that would be a good opportunity. Yeah,
well, 14's a lot different than other Final Fantasies because it's an MMO.
I know, and that's what I like are the ones that are different from the regular Final Fantasies. That's kind of terrible, but that's probably why Crystal Chronicles was my favorite, because it didn't play like the other ones.
I would recommend checking out Final Fantasy XII when it launches, because a lot of people called that a single-player MMO. Just the way it plays, and it's one of my favorite Final Fantasies, so... Yeah. If you're gonna start with a weird one, start with that one and see if you like it.
I feel like I remember David playing 12.
Maybe on PS2.
Yeah, could have been. We did have one back in the day.
Awesome Prime just came in dropping some biddies, so
dropping bits.
Thank you, Prime, for those biddies. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You were always appreciated. I can't count them all, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 biddies. All ones. So as they pour into that cup on screen.
When you have the cup, though, if you separate them out by ones like that, it makes the cup look fuller.
It does. I like when people do that.
Yeah.
Just shower biddies in.
Yeah.
Plus, when you drop bits, you get Norg.
Which is always worth it.
Why wouldn't you drop bits?
Always worth it.
Exactly. Always. Let's see. What other news? Hellblade is launching on the Switch on April 11th, so we have a confirmed date for that, which is pretty cool.
I think I saw, maybe it was a typo or something, but it did have an S and say it was for Switch. It was on sale somewhere for like $14 on the eShop.
Really?
Like a pre-order sale, I guess. But yeah, it was like $14. I was like, what?
Interesting.
Yeah, I was pretty sure. I was like, what's not even out there yet? I keep up with Hellblade. Hellblade's my shit. I loved that game.
Well, more people get to play it in just a few weeks. So
yep. I hope they enjoy it.
I hope so too. Some more Nintendo news. 3 more games have been added to the Nintendo Online NES lineup with Star Soldier, a vertical shmup, Super Mario Bros. The Lost Levels, and Punch-Out featuring Mr. Dream.
Oh my.
Yeah, Punch-Out is on NES Online, so I am going to dive in and get my ass handed to me by Mr. Dream. I'll take out Glass Joe. I don't give a fuck. I will take him out every day.
Doesn't that feel like you're kind of like whooping your own ass, though?
Yeah, a little. Worth it.
Masochist.
Last bit of news I have is some bad news for PlayStation fans. Drive Club is going to be completely delisted on April 31st, or not April, August 31st, and the game servers will be shutting down completely March 31st, 2020. So, Drive Club fans, condolences, but your game is about to die.
What's the reasoning for that?
I didn't see a reasoning.
Just rip, and that's it?
I'm going to guess it's going to come down to car licensing, because it's been out for a couple of years now. But all of Drive Club, including the bikes, the DLC, and the VR, are all going to be completely delisted. So if you want to get it, you're going to have to buy a physical copy.
Will you even be able to play it? Does it need servers? Or
You
is
can
it
still
just like
play
the
offline.
online? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it does have offline.
Yeah. Carnage delist club. It always sucks to see games get delisted, but that's the age of gaming that we're in now.
Unfortunately, that's not the only game to go under this week.
And what else?
There was it was only on PC. I've been following it because it's supposed to eventually come to consoles, but it's an action, like a team action RPG type shooter, called Breach. And it was being developed by QC Games. It released in January, in early access. And on Wednesday the 3rd, the developers made a blog post and said that it was their last day. They were closing the doors.
Oh, wow.
And the game, they hadn't quite worked out all the details of how they were going to shut down the game. But what I found weird about it was there was no indication on their Twitter or any of their social media that this was about to happen. It was very sudden. Like I said, I'd been following the game, and there had even recently been, like, it was early access, so the 0.2 update came out just about a week ago. Mm-hmm. And then they had even added in, they tried to play it off as like it was an April Fool's joke where they had added in dance battles into the shooter. And then they were like, oh no, it's actually a real thing and it's going to be active until the 7th and enjoy. And it's like everything on their social media is like, everything's good, everything's great. Look what we're doing with our game. Look, you get new modes and here's a new update. And then it's like, never mind, we close the doors. Bye.
Damn, that sucks.
What? So I'm curious to see what happens to the game as far as like the actual shutdown procedure goes. But as of the posting of the blog, by QC Games, that was their last official day as a studio. They were shut down immediately. So
that sucks.
Yeah,
it's never good when companies go under.
It's a sad situation, but
Carnage pointed out that there were a couple of more delistings on the Xbox side of things. These are already gone, so you don't have any chance of picking these up unless they're on disc. But on the Xbox One, we lost The Culling. Obviously, that was gone. And NASCAR Heat 2, which is surprising because that's only a year old.
I would assume that's got to be a licensing thing, too.
Or maybe they just wanted to get that off the store since NASCAR Heat 3 is out.
Could be. Could be.
And at least that one's still on disc. So if you want to buy it, there you go.
Yeah.
And then on the Xbox 360, Kung Fu High Impact has been delisted, as well as Operation Darkness and God Mode.
I'm not familiar with any of those.
Kung Fu High Impact was a Kinect game. It actually got re-released on the Xbox One from Virtual Air Guitar Company. Operation Darkness was from Atlas. It was I think a turn-based strategy game. And God Mode I never played, but Carnage said it was fun. So.
Well, that's a shame.
Yeah. Also from Atlas, apparently. I don't know if I own that one or not. If not, I guess I'm fucked now. So.
Sucks to be you.
But yeah, that's the news I got. Anything from you?
No, I already brought up Breach, and I think that was it. No, wait, I had something else wrote down. What was it? Oh, well, I don't know. We can talk about it, I guess. Did you see the whole turn of events was BioWare over Anthem?
Oh,
where
yeah.
Kotaku had wrote that article, and it was basically describing what it was like through 19 interviews of employees from BioWare to work on Anthem. And there was the word used was stress casualty. That was getting a lot of attention, where basically there was a lot of work on the game for the first 3 years of its 5-year development cycle, but nothing was really set in stone until that last 18 months, which is kind of the same hell that Mass Effect Andromeda went through.
Yeah.
It's a shitty way to develop games. It really is. Just you cannot do that to people. The whole crunch culture as it is in gaming just needs to shit the bed. It's done. Stop. But basically they were saying people would get so stressed out that they would literally just disappear for months.
Jesus.
And then BioWare, just like the executives and the higher ups and the bosses and everything, were just like, well, it's a stress casualty, and maybe they'll come back when they chill out, and maybe they won't. Maybe they'll. That's not a way to treat your employees.
Not at all.
And I think when you do shit like that, it shows in the final game. And I think it's easy to see what went wrong with Anthem when you know things like that. It makes it hard to want to support a developer and a publisher who push their team like that.
Yeah. Funny enough, Anthem's one of the games I traded into GameStop to pre-order Borderlands. I got a whopping $24 for it. So, yippee.
Anthem was given to me, and I feel like I'm sorry to the person who gave it to me. Ow. I
figure it'll join EA Access eventually, so oh well.
I don't even know if EA Access can save it. But
it'll mean I have the game again.
Yeah, that's true. Are you gonna play it though?
I don't know. I might. I've wanted to fire it up. I see one of my friends, Melody, playing it a lot, and No Time for Games dropping a whole bunch of biddies as well.
200.
Dropping bits!
Thank you, No Time, for those biddies. You were awesome.
That is a lot of biddies.
That is a lot of biddies.
And they are much appreciated.
And even better, broken up into 25, 25, 25, and 100.
They're filling the love cup.
To fill the cup. All right.
Oh, shit.
And we got to hear George again. So
2 times in one show.
I can't wait until we finally get George on for a full episode and someone drops bits then, because I know he'll just go on like a 2-minute dropping bits.
I might have to save my biddies and just make that happen my damn self.
Anyway, BioWare, yeah, they're shitty.
Yeah. Next. Speaking of dicks.
Speaking of dicks, are you ready for some reviews?
Yeah, sure. Let's knock this out.
Got a couple of those to take care of tonight. A little different from the past weeks. We have more than 2 this episode.
A lot.
Yeah, we got a nice handful to take care of. The first one to talk about is called Operencia, The Stolen Sun, developed and published by Zen Studios. Released March 29th on Xbox One, Windows 10 in the Epic Game Store for $29.99. That's right, it's not on Steam. Sorry, kids. Eventually. Yep. Zen Studios' modern homage to the classic first-person dungeon crawlers takes you to the land of Operencia, an unconventional fantasy world inspired by a faraway land referenced in countless Hungarian folktales. An old-school turn-based battle system combined with inspiration from Central European mythology to offer an RPG experience that feels unique yet also familiar. Cole, tell us about Operencia.
This isn't pinball.
We'll have to ask them about that when they're on the show next week.
Right.
Clearly, we didn't already record that.
Never. Never pre-record anything.
Never. Everything's live.
This is not pinball. Instead, it's an action RPG from a first-person perspective. When you start the game, it's a little deceptive because you start off playing as a king and a queen, and they're in a party together, RPG style, and there are dragons, and you're fighting all these monsters, and you're solving this hardcore puzzle using light to try to seal off this hell portal where demons are coming from. And then shit goes sideways. You cut to the title screen, and then you create a character who is apparently just like a farm kid trying to get away. And you're like, but I want to be the super cool king and queen who had all these fantastic powers, and now I can barely swing a hammer. What? So from there, you go off on your journey, and you create your adventure for your damn self. You can create your character however you want. You have quite a bit of wiggle room in the beginning. There's a lot of different hairstyles and shit like that you can choose from, and none of it matters. You don't ever see the character, but you have a few different options. Create your character, set up how you're going to that's a lot. You do see your character when you can press back every now and then and come up to the inventory screen. That's the only time you see your shit. You take all this care and like precision to make a character, and then you can only see them when you're in the inventory.
Hey, that's what happens in first-person RPGs.
It is. A first-person RPG is an odd combination to me, and this one is no different. And it's made even odder by the fact that you move around on a grid system.
Yeah, this is like old school first-person dungeon crawling RPG, yeah. Like old school.
Like I'm pretty sure I played this shit on a computer that could only produce the color green.
Yeah. Like back in the days when you would have to have graph paper to map out your where you're going because they didn't have an auto mapper in the actual game you were playing. Thankfully, Operencia does have an auto map, so.
And you can there's actually an achievement for uncovering all of it. So walk every goddamn grid, hug every goddamn wall, look at it all. Take it in. You lost my train of thought.
It's okay. It happens to the worst of us.
I know, and I am the worst of the worst. We got to talking about the grid system, and I lost it. But basically, you're going to go on an adventure, action RPG style, and carve out your story for your little farmhand that just wants to get the fuck away and is not a king or queen. You'll come across all kinds of different companions that will join your party. Some of them are more useful than others. Some of them are smart asses. God damn it. You do have the option to make the game easier or harder on yourself. Like, again, we're going back to the wiggle room of the setup. When you first get started, it does have difficulty of being normal or hard, and hard has permadeath, and fuck that.
Yeah.
And I will tell you why permadeath is fuck that. Because remember when you want to walk around and like look at all the walls to fill in those maps? of which there are 13. So while you're looking at all those walls, sometimes you're going to fall through holes. And then you take a hit. And then you use your mana to heal yourself. And then you fall down another fucking hole again. And then you don't have any more mana because you used it to heal yourself. And then you're just dead because you're going to do it a third time.
Oh, God.
And
How did you fall down so many holes?
I got lost pretty epically several times.
I am proud of you.
There are puzzles involved. And you do need to be able to, like, you know, find keys for certain doors and need the right switch here. And the funny part is there's one part early on where, like, there you can see the holes in the floor and you have to flip the switches to get the traps basically to come up and close so that you can move around the holes. And the first time I did it, I went through there and didn't fall through a single fucking hole. I was like, fuck, I'm the best. And it was later when I came back because I got lost that I just started randomly falling through holes. And I'm like, how come I didn't fall through these the first time I was here?
I'm so proud of you.
And I don't understand what I did. But I went through a lot of Farwood because there are...
What was that word again?
Farwood.
Nice.
There are far pits. God damn it. That you can set up by and you can rest and heal yourself if you've fallen through too many goddamn holes in the floor. Or you can use the save points. Thank goodness for that.
Yeah.
Those are important because, like I said, you are not the beast-ass king and queen taking out dragons from the beginning. And you are going to need to take plenty of time to poke around, explore, look for treasure chests. This isn't a game you're going to want to rush through.
No, not at all. You want to enjoy the scenery because it is a beautiful game as well.
It seriously is. I don't think you can talk about how pretty it is enough. It's just gorgeous. I love everything about the art style, even the music. I have an interesting relationship with music in games because I tend to think if I'm noticing it, it's either A, extremely good, or B, it's throwing me off. And I think most games have good enough music that it's there and you acknowledge it, but it's in the background and you shouldn't actually notice it. And yet somehow with Operencia, I will never pronounce it properly. Sorry.
It's just a long O sound. Operencia.
I know it, but I keep wanting to pronounce it like opera.
Proud of you.
Yeah. So maybe the king and queen were singing a musical and I didn't know.
Anyway.
I just wanted to kill more goddamn dragons is what it was. But now I lost my train of thought again.
I don't remember where you were either.
I don't either. I was having a fantastic time with a perfectly beautiful game that had a soundtrack that both you could hear it and it stood out, but not in a way that stood out that it felt it was wrong. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. And I just really enjoyed it. I did find that getting used to the movement was difficult, and I really just wanted to be able to explore a little more freely. I get that it's an homage to the old school games, and I can respect it and understand it, and they did very well with it. It's just that when you have a world that's this pretty, you want to get into every nook and cranny of it. Yeah. And when you're stuck on that grid, you can't. And I think for me, that's really the only thing I can fuss about here. I think the RPG elements were plenty easy enough to understand that even as somebody who's, I don't consider myself a hardcore RPG player. I don't sit there and try to min-max everything. I look at it and I go, this makes that skill go up. Press that button. I'm very low key with that shit. And so there was even an option where you could press a button and it would automatically add the best gear for that character.
Yeah, it would optimize.
Yeah, and I was like, I'm down for this. You can pick that shit.
Do my dirty work.
Yeah, I just want to go back to smashing on shit. I will say, I thought it was weird that the enemies would chase you down sometimes.
Why do you think that's weird?
I'm more used to like RPGs where you can sneak past them fuckers. And this one does not let that happen. And I would be on the whole different side of the building and an enemy would come rushing at me and I'd be like, where the fuck did you even come from? I didn't know you were here. How did you know I was here? And then you get ambushed and I'm like, no, that's not RPG tactics. That's not fair. You're fucking up the rotation here. But then it was probably my fault because I probably fell through a hole anyway.
Probably.
And I was probably asking for it.
That'll teach you.
Yeah, no. It's probably going to happen again.
Yeah, it will.
Yeah, that's why I didn't use permadeath. I am perfectly fine being one of those shitty reviewers who doesn't play on the hardest difficulty and beat the game in the 3 days that I have it.
That's what we pride ourselves on.
Yeah, I'm
being
like
shitty reviewers.
I've played it on the pussy difficulty, and I spent a lot of my time just poking around looking for the corners of the map just to see if I could. And it's okay. I had a good time playing it like that. And I think that's one of the best things about it is that I didn't have to rush through everything. I didn't have to gear up super fast to get anywhere. I just took my time and I enjoyed it.
Well, then $30 on it. What do you say?
I give it a buy it. I can't imagine why you would look at this and not want to play it.
Yeah, it is a fantastic game. I agree with you on that. And the best news about all of this, it is part of Xbox Game Pass.
Indeed.
And
so you don't
launched...
even have to buy it if you want to try it.
Exactly. And it's on Windows 10 as well. It's Play Anywhere. So
it is Play Anywhere.
If you hate the Epic Game Store, play it on Windows 10, pick up Game Pass, and then play a bunch of other games as well.
Indeed. You know, I've noticed that not just specific to Operencia, but I
said it properly. I'm so proud.
Did, and I forced myself. I kind of stuttered on it, but I did it. I loaded up my Microsoft Store the other day just out of curiosity because I was like, man, a lot of stuff we reviewed lately has been Xbox Play Anywhere. And I was looking through my library of Play Anywhere stuff on the PC, and I noticed that for the month of March, we had 6 Play Anywhere titles that I had just on my account.
Wow.
Prior to March, I only had one like every 3 to 4 months. So there's been quite an uptick in Play Anywhere lately, and I hope it continues.
Me too. I love Play Anywhere.
Yeah, Play Anywhere with Game Pass too. That's just a double whammy of kickassery.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
So yeah, play Operencia.
Yeah, do it. Go.
Doesn't matter how you do it, just fucking do it. And if you want to hear more about Operencia, check out our show next week when Mel Kirk and Chris Baker from Zen Studios are going to come on and chat with us.
Yes.
Really, really good stuff.
Totally not pre-recorded.
Not at all. Next game to talk about is called The Walking Dead, the final season, developed by Telltale Games and Skybound Games, published by Skybound Games. The full final season is now available on Xbox One, Switch, PS4, and PC for $19.99. Clementine, now a fierce and capable survivor, has reached the final chapter in her journey. After years on the road facing threats both living and dead, a secluded school might finally be your chance for a home. But protecting it will mean sacrifice. In this gripping and emotional final season, you will define your relationships, fight the undead, and determine how Clementine's story ends. Cole, tell us about this one.
There are so many fucking feels in this season. So this season is shorter than the previous ones, and it is also the end. And there's only so many ways that it can go. No spoilers, though. But
yeah, considering we only just got the review code for episode 4 and we haven't covered the previous ones, we're just handling this season as a whole. So story will be minimal in this review.
There there are so many things that get crammed into 4 episodes. And I find it funny because if you've ever heard me review any of these games in the past, you always know that episode 3 is like this shithole episode. And then 4 is where you hope for a little bit of redemption. And then 5 is where it cleans up its act. You don't have that kind of opportunity when you've only got 4 episodes. You have to get it right from the go. And this one does a really good job. I will say, I think, and I am going to be light on it, I'm not going to give any details, but I think the ending is going to be incredibly polarizing. I think that there is a certain theory that people have about what's going to happen on Clementine's journey and how it's going to end, especially given all of the callbacks to season 1 and Lee's relationship with Clementine compared to Clementine's relationship with AJ. There's going to be things that are they're going to sow some seeds that are going to grow some weeds that are going to make you cry.
Interesting. If
that makes sense. And then it's so hard to talk about this without spoilers. And then they're just going to come up and like plow that garden away. And then you're going to just sit there and go, the fuck just happened? And it's hard to decide if it's really a satisfying ending for this game. In some regards, you want to say that yes, as a final season, this is kind of just satisfactory. But it's also a little hard to say how is that an ending, because it feels like there could have been more. And given everything,
open-ended ending
in a way, yeah, you could view it as open-ended because it really sets you up for one type of end, and then, like I said, it just plows over your whole fucking field, and and you're just like, wait, and you kind of, there's kind of just an acceptance of how this game should end, and if it doesn't end that way, was the journey worth it? To an extent, I think it is. I certainly had feelings about what was going to happen. And I was wrong. I think everybody's going to be wrong to some extent or another in what they're going to get out of this season. But I still think it's worth the time to play it. You can definitely tell that Skybound took over. You can definitely tell that the art style is more influenced by the comics in this episode. You can tell that the storyline is more influenced by the comics. Especially as far as like season 3 went, the storyline was kind of veering off and getting a little out there for The Walking Dead as a series. But this definitely sees it return more to the comic roots like we saw with season 2. And I definitely appreciated that. But it's definitely going to be a polarizing season, but I still enjoyed it.
How does it play? Is there any kind of new twists on the formula, or is it just more of what everyone's used to? Most of it, and then there comes a point where I don't know if I can talk about it without spoiling it. There comes a point where the classic, menu of options at the bottom is traded out, and you have like floating options on the sides for some interactions. But I can't give you any kind of details of the hows or why of that without giving it away. Yeah. That would put us in spoiler territory, but there is a little bit of a shakeup. I do think that this one had more quick time events, and they were also far smoother. Especially with season 3 with Telltale, we saw that the quick time events, like there was a bit of a lag
between when it would start. It wasn't as smooth and flawless as we saw the first season. And there were also a lot of graphical glitches, and those are completely gone. This ran perfectly. I didn't have any kind of graphical issues. I didn't have any weird quirks. The biggest issue was that I wish Clem ran a little faster. That bitch grew up in the zombie apocalypse. She needs to get her ass in gear. Move, girl.
All right. Well, overall, $20 on the final season. What do you think of it?
I do give it a buy it. I can see some people definitely being torn on how it ends, but I think for the most part, it's a solid enough ending, and especially given that we only had 4 episodes. And if you've seen Clem be the little kid in the treehouse, then you want to know what happens to her.
And it's good that we got our ending. So thanks to Skybound Games for that.
Absolutely. I if the game had ended the way season 3 ended, I would have been really pissed.
Yeah.
So we needed something to give us some kind of closure and polish off the story. It's hard with a zombie apocalypse game to say, oh, well, I want my happy ending. And then to another extent, we're like, well, then you already know it's got to go to shit.
It is The Walking Dead. Everything goes to shit in The Walking Dead.
Everything goes to shit. But, there's people that aren't going to be satisfied with the shit it goes to.
Well, I guess you don't want to ruin any more of that, so
Nope.
we will move on.
I'm done.
Next game to talk about is called Outward, developed by 9 Dots, published by Deep Silver, released March 26th on Xbox One and PS4 for $39.99. No remarkable journey is achieved without great effort. Outward is an open-world RPG where the cold of the night or an infected wound can be as dangerous as a predator lurking in the dark. Explore the vast world of Ori, embark on memorable adventures alone or with your friends, and whatever you do, don't forget your backpack. Cole, tell us about it.
I forgot my backpack, and then I got fucked up by a white chocobo looking bird, and then I died, and it was a horrible tragedy, and I just gave up and started over, and then I died too. I think I fell or something, and I got like an infection and died from that, and then...
What we're saying, there's a lot of death in this game.
You know how, like, when you first start out with, say, Conan or Ark, and you're like, you dying to the most mundane shit because you're too stupid to know the rules of the game.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's going to happen with Outward. So again, we're in, create your character RPG territory, but this time it's third person so that you can at least see the bitch that you make. And there's so much to choose from when you create her, and it's incredible. The character customization options are really, really good. Your character will start off returning home from an adventure where they've been out with some friends on a ship. They have all kinds of loot. They've done good things for their tribe. They're going home. And then they get fucked and there's a shipwreck.
Hooray!
And you wash ashore and everybody's just trying to survive the shipwreck. There are bodies everywhere and you just want to go home. And
the shipwreck is the one time you don't die in this game.
Yeah. That's fine. That doesn't kill you. Everybody else, but you're good. I don't know about you. I got fucked up just trying to go home. I got attacked by wolves, and then I woke up in my home, and they were like, hey, yeah, you've been in a coma for 4 months, and now you have 5 days to pay your blood price, or we're going to take your home away.
Hooray.
Tribe is a bunch of shitheads. The whole premise is that if you're not working and paying back the tribe, you're more of a hassle than you're worth and you need to get the fuck out. Oftentimes, it's described that oftentimes the blood price can take generations to pay off. And the leader of your tribe is just nice enough to give you 5 whole days. Fuck that lady. Like they really line it up to that she's doing you a favor here. 5 whole days. And you're like, no, this is not a favor. This is bullshit. I was in a coma. It doesn't matter if it's not your fault that the ship wrecked. It's your fault the ship wrecked. And you need to get your shit together and fix it. But before you can even leave your village, then you need to get the appropriate shit before they'll even let you out. The weird thing is that it's entirely possible to get a leg up on paying your blood price without leaving the village. If you're careful and if you're smart and you fucking stay put and you learn your recipes and then you cook shit and you craft shit and then you sell it, you can pay off and save your house. Or you can be a dumbass like me and you can just be like, never mind, I'm going to go outside the walls and just hope for the best.
Which is one of the beautiful things with this game is that once they tell you, hey, you've got 5 days to do this, you get to do whatever the hell you want.
Yeah, there is no limit on you. You want to get your shit and get out? Get your shit and get out, but you better make sure you got some shit. I think they won't even let you leave the traditional way out of the gates unless you've got like a backpack and a weapon and
a water skin.
And a water skin. Now you can find all that shit laying around for free. Don't lose it because it's not going to be there again later. Once you take it, it's gone. Ask me how I know.
How do you know?
Because I fucking died and I lost it. Actually, once didn't die. I got picked up by another tribe that collects corpses. And then I woke up in their settlement and I killed a guard and stole his shit and snuck out.
Nice.
This game is so insane as to the possibilities of what you could do. Like, it's literally a choose your own adventure in every way. And as long as you learn the rules of how not to die, you can do whatever you want. But there are going to be consequences. Like, if you don't pay off that blood price, you ain't going to have a home to go back to. So you really need to stay within the rules, but the rules still give you the freedom to go and do what you want, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, there's a guideline, but if you go out of that guideline, you just have to live with your consequences. And that means, like, you might have drank some salt water and you're going to be puking your guts up for a few days. Consequences. You had the guideline, you broke the rule, and it's not a game over thing. It's just now shit's harder for you.
Yeah.
I think it's a really unique way to play.
As I say, if this sounds daunting, one thing that I love about this game is it has a very comprehensive tutorial. Mm-hmm. Right through the main menu. It's completely optional. So if you don't want to fuck with the tutorial, you don't have to. If you do, they teach you everything about this game. And they go overboard on teaching you things. They give you all the equipment you need to learn things. None of this carries over to the full game or that you would be like horribly OP, but they give you all the tools that you need to learn everything about the game through the tutorial. And it's really comprehensive and really well done.
I think, though, I'm one of those weirdos that when it comes to a game like this, and I did the same thing with Ark and Conan too, any kind of survival game, I don't mind to die relentlessly if I'm learning when I do it.
Yeah.
And I think that one of the best aspects of Outward is that every time I died, every time I fucked up, it was my fault. I did something ridiculous and I deserved what happened. And I thought what was funny was that even though I fucked up, there were still ways to get around it. Like the instance where I got jumped and I got dead, but I wasn't dead. And then I just woke up in another base and I killed a guard and stole his shit. That's an incredible turn of events right there. Yeah. That's not something that, if I go out in Ark and I get eaten by a dinosaur, I'm dinosaur shit. And that's that. I'm done. But this gave me a whole other way to play and turn around and yeah, maybe I didn't have a water skin anymore and maybe I was going to be, in a tight spot to find clean water, but fuck, now I've got a mace and I bashed in a guard's head. That's a whole different game all of a sudden that I'm playing. And there were so many potential opportunities for things like that to happen. You just had to find them. Yeah. And there's the world is so big. Like I feel like I barely scratched the surface and I died 7 million times.
That's an accurate total as well.
It is, but I will give a warning, gamer score horse. You get 1 for creating a character.
Yay!
And then, you need to do the rest of the shit in the game if you want to even that shit.
Yay! I love when games do this. I was so happy when I started the game and it's like, bloop, 1 point. Yeah! I mean, there's a 9. There is a 99 to even it out after you complete like everything in the game. But still, I love when games do that.
I think this would be an incredibly hard completion. Even if you're good at it and you're really you really figure this shit out and you learn to not die to dumb shit like birds, you're still gonna be a long ass time trying to just complete this game because there are multiple factions. Like, I'm not joking when I say this is a giant ass choose your own adventure. There are multiple factions with multiple quests, and there are different NPCs with all kinds of shit that they want you to do. You're going to be forever just exploring and talking to people.
It can't all be good, though, so I got to know what kind of negatives you had. I wish the survival elements weren't there because they just seem kind of half-assed to begin with.
Yeah.
I mean, they load you down.
Like they're half-assed, but they're definitely rudimentary. Yeah. Like if you play other survival games and you expect certain elements to be there. And this I was like, oh, well, I drank salt water and now I'm sick. Yeah. And it was just very, I can't think of another word beyond rudimentary. It's just
very basic.
Primitive and bare bones. Yeah.
And I kind of wish that they weren't there at all. I would have rather them not have them than have them be kind of half-assed and
you're
basic.
Constantly fucking hungry. Yeah. And you're going to eat bad shit because you don't have a choice. And then you're going to have to deal with the consequences. And it does kind of force that on you. Yeah. So that's
what other
definitely
negatives did you have?
Other than just weird difficulty, because you think, okay, it's safe to at least go outside and collect some berries, and then you get randomly jumped by a bandit, and you're like, God damn it, I can't afford to be in a coma for 2 days because I fucked up. Navigation could be a little easier. There's a compass at the top. I don't remember if there was a mini map, but I don't think there was. No. There isn't any kind of
They do have a world map that you could check, but it's again very basic. Yeah, I wish there was more on the map.
There were certainly points where like an NPC would be like, "Oh, go to the south to this and that," and I'm like, "Yeah, I'm never gonna find that. I'm just gonna walk aimlessly until I find something." Yeah. I didn't feel like I had as much control over choosing my destination so much as I just randomly round up in places and did what I could while I was there. And that's one of those where when I'm playing and I'm like, I don't know if that's just because I have shiny object syndrome or if something is amiss in the game. So that may be more of an amiss in the game than my shiny object syndrome kicking in, though. Because I did struggle to navigate, but I'm also very casual about that shit. And when it happens, I'm like, I wind up in random places. Make the best of it. My adventures probably could have gone better, and I might have not woke up in a cart of corpses as many times as I did. Yeah. It's funny when that pops up, though, and it's like, yeah, you woke up in a cart of corpses.
Well, overall, $40 on Outward. What do you think of it?
It is kind of a high price, but there is so much to do. And it's more of a niche game than everybody else would really be interested in. It's kind of hard for survival games in and of themselves to make their footing. So I do tend more of a try it because it's just, especially with the difficulty aspect of it. Oh, yeah. It's not going to appeal to everybody. But if you do enjoy like just trial and error and mindless exploration and taking whatever lumps are handed to you because you fuck up, then you're going to have a good time.
No. I agree on the try it. I think the difficulty is going to scare a lot of people off. I think the open-endedness of the game is going to scare a lot of people as well. But if you could get into the game and you enjoy what's there, you're going to have a good time. And there's so much to do in the game.
Yeah. Dude. Oh.
There's an ungodly amount in the game.
Like you die 74 times and you're like, where did the last 8 hours go? I already lost my lighthouse and I don't know where my friends are anymore. And I woke up in a cart of corpses.
Hooray. Oh man, next game to talk about is a preview of Whispers of a Machine, developed by Clifftop Games and Fairvid Interactive, published by Raw Fury. This one will be releasing Q2 2019 on Steam. Whispers of a Machine is a sci-fi Nordic noir that tells the story of Vera, a cybernetically augmented detective in a post-AI world who investigates a string of murders and unravels a dark conflict over forbidden technology. Dark Mika covered this one, wrote in a preview. This is what she's got to say. Whispers of a Machine is a point-and-click cyber noir game. You play as a punky sex on a stick type detective named Vera. You have a way with words, Dark Mika.
What?
A punky sex on a stick type detective named Vera, and in the preview are called into a town to solve a murder, now 2 murders as of the morning you arrive. Has some cool stuff in it. Vera's augmented to do her job better, and it's a biotech in the game, which means you can play as her. The choices you make in the game affect her personality. There are 3 personality characteristics: empathetic, analytical, or assertive. Anytime you make a choice, it gives +1 to one of those characteristics and -1 to the other 2 of them. The plan is for this to cause the biotech to evolve to fit her needs, which will unlock brand new augments for her to use. I didn't get a chance to fiddle with this, not sure if you can even actively unlock anything new in the demo, even since it's so short, but the concept is really cool. There's no manual saves though, which I personally don't like, but I understand why they chose to do it. It just irks me personally. I've never liked that, but I digress. Voice actors are all really good. I like them, which is sometimes hit or miss in games like this. Art is really good. Vera's hot. There's not much to say. The world in the demo is fairly void of people, like most point and clicks. The detective stuff, though, is really fucking fun. There's a bioscanner you have to use that has a smart mode that scans for anything interesting to give you clues, which then become modes that you can scan for. For instance, there's a dead guy, scan his body for DNA. Now you can scan around to find things of his because he left fingerprints or blood or hair or whatever on, like his locker, for instance, or his fingerprints are all over the vent for some odd reason. Ooh. Things like that. It was really cool. I like Sherlock games, so this game is right up my alley. I did have one issue. A code in the game isn't very intuitive. You get a date, which makes sense, that you have to flip it upside down for no discernible reason. I worry they'll have a bunch of moments like that. It was May 13th, so 513, and for some reason they wanted it flipped for some reason as 135, not 315, if that makes sense.
No.
Basically, it was just an unintuitive puzzle that you had to solve. No indication to do this was ever provided. It was just something to make it harder. Also, there are multiple dates. If that was the absolutely only one, you might think to try that, but when there's a bunch of possible ones, you don't think of it as readily. That's my only fear, because that sucked. Overall, though, I think it's worth keeping an eye on, because other than that one annoyance, I really enjoyed the game. So that one sounds pretty good, and hopefully we'll have more of that later on in the year when a full review is available.
Nice.
Good stuff. Next game to talk about is called Far Lone Sails, developed by Okamotive, published by Mixed Vision, released April 2nd on Xbox One and PS4 for $14.99. Traverse a dried out seabed littered with the I can't talk today. What is going on?
I shared my can't speakosis with you.
Nice. Traverse a dried out seabed littered with the remains of a decaying civilization. Keep your unique vessel going, overcome numerous obstacles, and withstand the hazardous weather conditions. How far can you make it, and what will you find? Cole, how far did you make it, and what did you find?
I made it pretty far, surprisingly.
Did you?
Yeah, I'm pretty proud of myself. I haven't had a chance to finish it yet. I got stuck on a couple of puzzles, but I was having a good time, and I thought most of them were pretty intuitive. For the game itself, you play as an unnamed silent protagonist who's wearing a little red cloak, and you want to guide them across this grayscaled out, just apocalyptic world. Clearly, everything around you has seen better days. You start in your little home, and you're in the backyard, and you're paying respects to a grave, and then you want to gather what few belongings you have in your house, and you throw them in this just cobbled together behemoth of a vessel that is literally every bit as much of a train as it is a boat, as it is a car, as it is a tractor. Like any kind of vehicle you can think of that goes, there's an element of it in the locomotive. And you'll need to be able to manage those moving parts of this vessel to get, basically you're going on a 2D plane left to right through this wasteland. In order to do this, though, it's not entirely left to right. You can go back if you have to. It's not advice, though. It's more hassle than it's worth. To do this, you'll need to throw trash and other items into the incinerator, which creates steam. It's a steam-powered engine, which, you have the fuel, and then you can go. But that's not your only mechanism for making it go. You can just get out and grab the winch and pull that bitch behind you. It's slow, but it's an effective mechanism when you find yourself out of fuel. You can eventually get modifications for your locomotive, which will, add things like sails or a vacuum on the back, which will automatically suck up trash stuff under you so that you don't have to stop every time you come across some fuel. That's fantastic, because a lot of this game you need to rely on the locomotive's momentum, because you won't have enough fuel. No matter how many times you stop to pick it up, you're going to run out sometime or another. When you are playing, if you are in the locomotive, you have it kind of cuts away, and so you can see the inside of the machine, and you'll have different little buttons that you can push. Literally, to release the steam, you just have to jump and hit the button with your head. If you want to push the engine, if you want the engine to go, then you have to push that button. And if you want your sails to come up, you'll have to hit a button in an elevator and go up to the top of your vehicle and jump out and hit that button in order to make your sails come up. The layout of the ship is very well done, and it makes it easy to navigate to what you need to do. There are times, though, where shit just absolutely hits the fan. And you're incredibly overwhelmed because you'll have something broken down. You can run out of fuel is the most mundane problem that you can run into. Sometimes shit will catch fire. Sometimes you will have to. I know it. So, I know. Sometimes you'll have to get the little torch and weld a button back together so that it works again. That shit just stops working. You might get caught in weather. Sometimes there are hailstorms. There's one moment where you're caught in a hailstorm, and it is so stressful because you have to keep your locomotive underneath these shelters, but they're kind of spaced far apart, so you can't stop and not keep going, and the storm doesn't let up. So you have to stop your locomotive underneath these vessels and put out the fires and fix the buttons so that you can go just a few more feet to the next shelter and do it all over again, so that you don't fucking explode. Yeah. You gotta keep going. You can't You can't lose your boat because you're the only person, and because there's no enemies, there's no combat, there's nobody to talk to. You develop an unusual emotional connection to that boat. And like in the moments when you are panicking and you think that something bad is going to happen to it, it can be incredibly stressful because you're like, this is my home. This is my means of transportation. And if this shit goes, it's just me out here in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah. I like Doc Havoc. Make sure your sails are down so you don't clothesline that shit.
I've had to repair my button for my sails a lot because it could be a little oblivious and not realize I'll be focusing so much on like building my momentum, making sure I have fuel, and then I'll hear crank. Shit. Everything gets stopped. Shut the cookie operation down. Now I gotta climb up there and I gotta weld shit, and then I'll sit there and look like a fool because all that momentum I built up is gone. I'm gonna go ahead and say that even though I haven't beat the game, this is definitely my game of the week.
Oh, wow.
And I have had so much fun with it. I am so emotionally invested in getting to the end and making it in that stupid locomotive. I just wanted to go. And there have been times where I would absolutely just run out of fuel and I'd sit there and be like, I can leave it and I can go look for fuel because you can get a good little piece away from it. But what if something bad happens to it while I'm gone?
Yeah.
What if something bad happens to me? And you know there's no enemies and you know there's no combat, but you still worry about getting too far away. Yeah. So I would fucking grab that winch and drag it. I would hoof it slowly just to not have to leave it. And it's an incredibly odd way to connect to a game, and I've enjoyed it so much because it's different.
Oh, then $15 on it. What do you say?
I give it an absolute buy it.
Shocking.
Easy. Yeah, I was so surprised by like how much I enjoyed it. This is obviously like one of those easy peasy puzzle game kind of games, and not all of the puzzles are super easy, but they're intuitive enough that you're gonna figure them out. That I was like, yeah, I'm gonna like it, but I didn't expect to emotionally get invested in it. So I was really surprised, and I definitely recommend other people play it.
Awesome. Sounds good.
Yay.
One final game to talk about tonight is called Royal Roads, developed by Bidon Games Studio, published by 8 Floor, released April 5th on Xbox One for $9.99. The princess embarks on an exciting adventure to hunt down the evil witch and turn back into her true self. Get ready for vibrant locations, exciting levels, fun characters, simple gameplay for any age, great music, and a storyline you'll never forget. Adventure awaits on the Royal Roads. I almost got through that one. Okay.
Almost.
So close. Cole, tell us about Royal Roads.
Poor 8 Floor and their adventure story you'll never forget, because you don't play these games for the story. I will say that of all of the previous 8 Floor games that we've played before, there was the Dino one where they didn't even get the character's name right in the summary. Then there was all the Gnome Garden ones. There was another one too. I can't even remember the name of it right now.
There have been a bunch of 8 Floor games. They've been doing pretty good with these. This
one, I would say, tops them all. It is the most polished. It is the most graphically advanced. It has the most levels. It comes in at 100 levels. Gameplay wise, it is still very similar. It's pretty much the exact same concept we've had before. You have the map with, your resources are scattered around and you need to build everything back up. You need to build up farms so that you have food, so that you have enough to go and remove logs. And then once you've got the logs, you can upgrade your buildings. It's the exact same gameplay concept. they do try to get a little unruly and throw in some elves for some mysticism here and there. But you're not playing for that story. It's very forgettable. It's just another princess on a mission to do things, to be a princess again. The end. But from a graphic perspective, animations are better in this one. The art, like I said, looks more polished. They did put a little more effort into the story. It's just still not something that's going to rock your socks off. Yeah. But it is a fun game to play. All that aside, if you like those kind of strategy, resource management kind of games, and you like to challenge yourself by trying to, get 3 stars on them by doing it all within time and trying to find where you can cut the corners and not build everything that you see just because it's there, you're going to have fun. And that's what I like about these. Like, the stories come and go. and I know what the gameplay is going to be, and yet I still find myself wanting to play them. And this one was no different. Like I said, the first night I played it, it was like I blew through 25 levels in like just 2 hours or something, just sitting there, just plowing through them, getting 3 stars on all of them because I'm a masochist. And I had a good time doing it because that's what you can count on with A-Floor, that the gameplay is solid. Yeah, it's a little repetitive, but you don't particularly mind because that's what you're there for, is the point and click strategy aspect. Yeah. I don't think most people play these in one quick session like that. I don't think most people are going to sit and play point and click level after point and click level after point and click level and just really go hog on it like that, like I did. That's just, I really like these. Yeah. And that's how I tend to play them. It's like, I've got 15 minutes to play. And then I'm like, shit, it's 4 hours gone by, but I beat it. So it's fine. What'd you do today? I beat Royal Roads. Nobody's got clean underwear for tomorrow, but look at what I did.
Oh, God.
Worth it. But I mean, that's a testament to how enjoyable it is that, you get lost in it, even when you're doing the same thing over and over, even when you know what to expect. It just works. And sometimes that's plenty good enough.
Cool. So $10 on it. What do you say?
I give it a buy it, and I hope they keep at it, and I hope they keep getting a little more polished. Maybe we'll start to see some shakeups to the formula, and if not, I don't care. I'm probably still gonna play that shit ad nauseum.
It's like Artifacts Monday. You know what you're getting, and it's gonna be good.
And that's not a bad thing at all. Like sometimes there's comfort in familiarity, and you're like, I know what I'm getting, and that's a good thing.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that is it for this episode. You already made your pick of the week, so we don't have to go over that.
Yeah. Don't even got to ask.
Although I do want to give a shout out to Operencia because that one is fantastic as well.
It is.
And if you're not into dungeon crawling RPGs, you should give this one a shot anyway, especially if you have Game Pass.
Yep. Go fall through some holes for me.
Yes.
Fall through it and be like, Cole told me to.
And get Game Pass because fucking come on. Seriously. It's Game Pass. It's awesome. $10 a month.
Seriously.
Operencia. Do it.
Excuse me.